A classic Prairie Big Sky smiles over Winnipeg this afternoon as the Blue Bombers face the Double Blue from Toronto. This is the CFL on CBC. From Canadian Stadium, the Toronto Argonauts take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. September in Winnipeg, and a two-game winning streak has rekindled thoughts of a playoff run for the Bombers. A windy day here on the prairies, and that could be a factor this afternoon. The fans have remained faithful during a difficult first half that cost the head coach's job. Today, there's renewed optimism in Bomberland. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Winnipeg. I'm Mark Lee along with Chris Walbott. We talked about the wind. It is a factor today. The forecast says it could gust as high as 60 kilometers per hour out of the south, and that puts more prominence on the running game. Interestingly enough, Chris, both running games from Toronto and Winnipeg are hitting high gear. How about Charles Roberts coming off his best game last week?
You got to love this guy, the guy they call Blink. I mean, he can get it done. Last week, 22 carries, 159 yards. I mean, he broke the backs of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders himself. He just gets it done. Now, you just got to love this kind of guy, because one of the things that we talk about the running game, we talk about what he gets, but also one of the things about Charles Roberts, as well as his counterpart on the other side, we'll talk about in a second, both catch the ball very well out of the backfield.
How about John Avery of the Argonauts finally showing the prominence they expected from the start of the season?
Well, you know what? This is a guy who has, at the beginning of the year, says he's not 100%. He said back in game one, give me Labor Day, I finally feel 100%. Well, he showed that last week, over 110 yards rushing, including the big 74-yard romp. I mean, this guy's back. He's been running 16 flights of stairs where he lives to condition his knee. This guy's ready to play. I tell you what, I'm excited to watch these two big feature backs today.
And as far as Charles Roberts is concerned, the Bombers are 16-0 when he rushes for 100 yards in a game. How about Chris Walby's Gillette game notes?
Well, let's cut to the chase, Mark, with the Gillette notes. And I'm telling you what, for Toronto, let's take the rock and roll. Michael Bishop, take the ball, roll out. If the pass isn't there, run with it. On defense, P.S. not a chance. That's the secondary of the Argonauts saying Peterson, Stiegel, Stoddard, Stokes, you throw any SU on there, not a chance having a big game against those guys. On the other side of the coin, for Winnipeg on offense, Sir Charles is perfect. Mentioned earlier, every time he rushes for over 100 yards, the Bombers win. He is 16-0 in that category. And on defense, checkmate the Bishop. Do not let Michael Bishop escape to the left, to the right, or up to center, and you'll have a chance for victory.
And on the sidelines this afternoon, looking right into the teeth of that southerly wind, Scott Russell. Scott?
You betcha, Mark, and right into the sun. 24 degrees is the temperature. That's not a problem, but the wind's coming 40K plus out of the south. That should be a problem for the place kickers today. Talked to Noah Prefontaine and Troy Westwood of the Bombers. Here are the ranges. Noah Prefontaine says he can be 40 to 65. That's low and high. As for Troy Westwood, he's more modest, 35 to 55. As for the great Bomber punter, Bob Cameron, he's up in the booth. He kicked for 134, 310 yards, much of it in the wind. He says, welcome to Winnipeg. Let's go.
It's the Windy City, and if anybody knows the wind, it's Bob Cameron, as Noel Prefontaine gets set to kick off. And the number 3 kickoff return man in the league, number 1 punt returner, Keith Stokes, is back with Derek Smith to return this opening kickoff, and it is Stokes at his 25, hesitates, looks for a block, and there's not much room going there as Johnson makes the tackle for the Toronto Argonauts. A 10-yard return by Keith Stokes, who was injured last week in a late day addition here for the Bombers. Mike Pinball Clemens, his team had 12 days off since that 30-30 overtime tie on Labor Day. today with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Jim Daly, 3-2 since taking over the Bomber helm when Dave Ritchie was fired on August the 8th. It's Kevin Glenn at quarterback in place of Kahari Jones, and they'll start on the ground. And Charles Roberts up the gut for 5 yards. Antonius Bonner making the tackle for the Argonauts. Kevin Glenn has looked pretty sharp as a starter in Winnipeg. A 2-1 one-loss record, winning the last 2 against his former team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He was traded to Toronto, spent a few hours as an Argo, then moved on to Winnipeg in a deal for draft picks. 2nd down and 5. Kevin Glenn rolling, throwing to the near side, and Stoddard has the catch, stepping out of bounds for a Winnipeg 1st down as we check the starting lineups.
Well, thank you for letting me join this broadcast. As we take a look at the backfield, Robertson, Glenn, and Wade Miller, the unsung hero at fullback. The receiving crew, Smith, Stoddard, Stiegel. Peterson has to have a breakout game. And an offensive line that really has improved drastically the last 2 weeks, only giving up 2 quarterback sacks.
1st down Bombers with an offense that has been simplified since Jim Daly took over as head coach. On the ground again on 1st down, Charles Roberts, all 167 pounds, runs headlong into Eric England for another gain of about 5 on the play.
And it's always tough. This is a tough defense to run against. Eric England, Cantner, what a season he having. 8 sacks. Brown, O'Shea, and Ivan in the middle of that tough linebacking crew. And a great secondary anchored by Pee-wee Adrian Smith, number 12 at the corner.
Chuck Winters in for the injured Clifford Ivory, who has a rib cartilage problem this afternoon. 2nd down and 5. Back to Charles Roberts. Outside, Kenny Wheaton's got him. Wrapped up and finished off by Kevin Ivan. And they'll be about 3 yards shy of the 1st down.
3 yards shy, but I like the fact that they're coming out and they're trying to establish the running game. They said they felt that they had to run the football. Charles Roberts coming off a career game last week against Saskatchewan. Let's get it established. That will help our passing game, our intermediate routes with the receivers. They want to do a lot of crossing through. Mix the receivers up. It'll help everything.
Live.
Charles Roberts, the number 2 rusher in the CFL. As John Ryan gets set to punt, he had his best game of the year last week against Saskatchewan. A 52.8-yard average. And there's Arland Bruce III, the former Bomber, making his first return here to his old stadium in Winnipeg. It's Adrian Smith dropping the ball. Finally finds it as he's hit hard. It was Marquise Fitzgerald who was right there, and Adrian Smith had to be quick to hang on to that one.
Well, he juggled the football, and as you talk about Marquise Fitzgerald right there to bring him down, and Adrian Smith very fortunate to keep the control of that football. Could have been an early turnover for the Bombers.
Michael Bishop in his 4th start at quarterback for the Argos. He's 1-1 since replacing the injured Damon Allen. Played his best game of the year versus Winnipeg on August 17th, passing for nearly 60%, 300 yards, a touchdown, and as we mentioned off the top, 96 yards rushing has really given this Winnipeg team fits. Damon Allen has made the trip, told us the other day he started jogging 3 days ago, expects to be passing in practice this week. He was warming up on the sidelines.
It's an amazing story. We're going to touch on that during the telecast. That's just an amazing recovery.
He's 41 years old and making a quick recovery from a broken leg. Tough field position for the Argos here on 1st down. Back to pass in the pocket. Bishop throwing deep downfield into the wind, and he overthrows Robert Baker, incomplete. There's the arm strength from Michael Bishop as we check
saw
the Toronto
that as
offense.
he sits back there and he pumps it into the wind as we see Bishop, and of course the always exciting John Avery. The receiving crew obviously with the addition of Arland Bruce and Andre Rison at the wideout. Lots of speed out there. An offensive line that's finally getting some juice together. Dave Costa has played every position on offensive line except center.
Subbing for the injured John Fugel, who has a broken thumb. 2nd and 10. Argos. Bishop straight back, throwing across the middle, incomplete. Andre Talbot had it go off his chest, but there are flags in the backfield.
Well, good coverage by the Bombers secondary linebackers teaming up on their intended receiver, but a late flag thrown, Mark, behind the line of scrimmage.
Major foul. roughing the passer. Winnipeg number 44, first down.
So Tom Canada, the sack leader on this team, gets the penalty.
You see Alfred Payton coming to one side, and you got to control yourself. This game is all about controlled violence, being smart, don't hurt your team. You just did a nice job defensively. You would have forced them to punt the football. You take a silly penalty and you give them a fresh set of downs.
Canada with 7 sacks, number 2 in the CFL, and a tough penalty there. First down, Argos on the ground. John Avery is wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Alfred Payton, he's pumped up.
Well, Alfred Payton's excited. He finally, as we talked earlier, got the monkey off his back on his first quarterback sack last week. Looking for bigger things. Tom Canada leads this team with 7 quarterbacks. And don't forget the 2 guys in the middle, Bradley and Brown. A good linebacking crew. McGreg's best game of the season, 8 tackles last week, all over the football field. And his secondary is starting to gel. Covington and Carter back from that elbow injury at the quarterback.
Joe Morgan starting at safety for the injured Jeff Drover. 2nd and 9, Argos. Back to pass, Bishop deep downfield. Nobody there as it sails over top of the safety, Joe Morgan. And so Bishop twice trying to stretch this Bomber defense and twice missing his receivers by a country mile.
Well, missing him by a country mile, but I tell you what, the coverage was there. Justin Coleman, Joe Morgan, the much maligned safety, as we see Ken Austin, the offensive coordinator, just getting into Michael Bishop's head right now. Tell him to relax, take the read. This is something we talked about. The defense wants to make Michael Bishop read their defense.
Kent Austin there with a tongue lashing to Michael Bishop. Austin believing that Michael Bishop was the better of the 2 quarterbacks, comparing him with Marcus Brady, who was traded to Hamilton because of that deep ball threat he has. A good punt into the wind by Prefontaine. Derek Smith driven back to his 30, and he's got nowhere to go as Williams is in on the tackle. A 47-yard punt into the wind by Prefontaine, and just a 1-yard return on a gorgeous day for football in Winnipeg. Back in Winnipeg, there's Arland Bruce III. He came out of the game after the opening kickoff, and they retaped that left ankle. But Chris, it appears to be more a case of maybe the tape job wasn't tight enough. He needed a little fit there.
Well, I think it's just a case, Mark, of the shoe slipping on his foot. He just wanted to have a little bit more secure. So he goes, he gets a Reese, what's called a spatted by the trainer. Tighten it up a little bit. We'll see him back shortly.
He was surrounded by Winnipeg reporters yesterday wanting to know what kind of a reception he expected coming back to Winnipeg, but he said, I left on a positive note. Fans don't have anything to boo me about. Here's Kevin Glenn. His pass knocked down the line of scrimmage and incomplete.
Well, Michael Fletcher, really, they do such a nice job on the short side. Number 2 is just going to come on your screen, and watch him go high. This is just a nice job. Now, Michael Fletcher's only 5'11", and he's going against a big offensive tackle, Jameis Jones, but he does an intelligent thing of getting his hands up. Low throw by Glenn, and the ball ends up on the turf.
Keith Stokes in the lineup at receiver, a 5-receiver set for the Bombers. That pass is a one-hopper intended for Jamie Stoddard and incomplete. So the Bombers go to a punt situation on their second series.
Well, it's a punt situation. We saw the play earlier. Michael Fletcher come from the short side. This time they bring Antonius Bonner, number 10, from the strong side of the football field. They're doing a really nice job of mixing it up. You see him on the top of your screen coming in there. Kevin Glenn's got to get rid of the football before he wants. He throws it short, and again, as you say, a punting situation.
Kevin Glenn not happy with himself. Tireless worker, called a gym rat by Coach Jim Daly. Says he has to tell him to go home. He's around so much looking at film and trying to be as prepared as he can. Look at the wind take that punt from John Ryan. It's Arland Bruce, cornered, and he's got no place to go as he's tackled at the 30. John Ryan with a boomer there for the Bombers. Michael Bishop back on the field after getting a lecture from Kent Austin on the sidelines, but Bishop saying that he really trusts Kent Austin, that Austin has become his teacher, working with him over the last 4 weeks as he takes this spot more seriously as a quarterback, spending more time in the film room. That ball is up for grabs and nearly intercepted. Eric Carter playing his second game since returning from an arm injury.
And Mark, I think it's a case right now of Bishop trying to muscle the football. He's got such a strong arm, and he's throwing it so hard that the ball is actually sailing on him into the wind, and that's allowing the defenders, in that case Eric Carter, almost come up with an interception.
Michael Bishop 0 for 4 passing. 2nd and 10 Argos. Into the wind. Here comes the blitz. Bishop won't get away. It's the SWAC man, Alfred Payton, with his 2nd sack of the season.
Well, Alfred Payton told us before the broadcast, he says, I will get some sacks. We made a little joke in jest, the fact that he tells us that every time we do a broadcast, but he's come to fruition this time as he gets around the right tackle, Dave Costa, and wraps up Michael Bishop for his 2nd sack of the season, and that sack puts him only 6 behind Grover Covington for the all-time CFL sack title.
A record of 157 career sacks. And Alfred Payton so frustrated at having Bishop get away from him in that game August 17th. He said he had him 4 times. Prefontaine driving this one low into the wind. Another good punt. Here's Keith Stokes, the CFL leader in punt returns. He's got 3 touchdowns this year, but not there as Randy Rosinski makes the tackle for Toronto. A 43-yard punt into the wind and a 13-yard return.
Well, nice return by Stokes on that punt return, but I tell you what, they're very fortunate. Watch Corey Olnick on this block on Jeff Johnson. I'm telling you, everybody, this is a clip. They got away with one right there. Olnick, helmet right in the back of the triple threes or double threes. Very fortunate, Mark, not to get a penalty.
Good call there, big man. Bombers in a double tight end formation. Quarterbacks a combined 1 for 6 so far in this football game for a total of 6 yards. And on the ground they go, the Bombers. Sir Charles Roberts. It's amazing how far he'll carry a pile. The small man at 167.
Well, trying to run a little bit of a double tight end look here. Give a little bit more beef on that offensive line, trying to attack the somewhat smaller linebackers of the Argonauts.
Jim Daly saying yesterday his first order of business when he took over as head coach was to address this offensive line, to challenge the offensive linemen to be more intense, saying they set the tone for our team in this football game. Pass situation. Kevin Glenn stands up, fires an arrow. It's complete to Jamie Stoddard, but a flag down at the 50. Kevin Glenn with that quick release, giving this Bomber offense a different look than when it was under Kahari Jones' leadership.
Well, that's the thing that Jim Daly really likes about Kevin Glenn, is he makes quick decisions and he delivers the ball quickly. So
Toronto number 95. Penalties decline. First down.
So when England jumped, Eric England obviously offside, but you know what, to get back to that point, I mean, he's going to work against Jermise Jones. He just gets a little jump, but again, good protection by 57. But Kevin Glenn making good decisions, delivering the football quickly and where it has to be.
Well, the officials are protecting the quarterbacks here today. Any kind of contact is being called. On the ground, Roberts up the middle, negotiating his way for a good gain. On first down, make it 5 yards, putting his quarterback in a 2nd and short situation.
Well, and that's exactly what you want, but the biggest thing is you have to remember, we talk about how tough this Argonaut defense is to pass against. They are #1 against the pass, but they are the worst against the run. They gave up 242 yards last game against Hamilton, with Troy Davis picking up the majority of those yards.
Those are both season highs in the CFL this year for defenses against the run. 2nd down and 5. Bombers. Kevin Glenn again, a quick release. It's caught by Keith Stokes, very close to a first down.
Well, they're really excited about, I mean, this is, first off, it's a miracle that Keith Stokes even in the lineup. He had a high ankle sprain, and anybody who's ever had one of those injuries, it's really tough to come back never less than 1 week. Now he's back last week, 100 yards receiving. Derek Smith, 100 yards receiving. That's the first time that they've had 2 receivers in the same game go over 100 yards. But they're really excited about the fact when you got a guy like Keith Stokes, and you know what he can do in the open field, and make him a receiver.
Bombers waited until yesterday morning before deciding whether Keith Stokes could play. There's the first down on the Stokes reception, but he said the swelling was down. He didn't have a lot of pain after the practice on Thursday. Says he's only missed 1 game in his entire football career. That was in college. He said, I wouldn't hurt my team by playing hurt. I'm ready to go, and he looked sharp there.
Yeah, nice job. And I mean, a lot of times, I remember when he was in Montreal, And Coach Matthews said, we really like this kid, but we're trying to create him or turn him into a receiver. We know he's a good returner. Well, he obviously did his homework.
He adds some speed to that Bomber receiving core, and they're threatening here. First down. On the ground again. Charles Roberts with a nice seam. Bonner making contact as Roberts makes his way into the Argo secondary.
And Mark, we always talk about the glory guys, and I mean we're talking about Charles Roberts. And a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit is 34, Wade Miller, the fullback. That is an excellent job of getting to the hole and sealing it off, not allowing the penetration to come from the short side, and springing Charles Roberts.
Second down and 4. Blue Bombers at the 22 of the Argos. They'll stay on the ground. Roberts can't find a hole, does the spinorama, but he's surrounded. Noah Cantor in on the tackle along with Michael Fletcher for Toronto. And that will stall that offensive drive and put the Bombers in a field goal situation.
But it's a good situation because you're moving the ball. You're getting momentum. You're getting some confidence and some rhythm in your offense. Yeah, you may have to settle for a field goal, but the fact is, it's positive.
Troy Westwood, good on 71%. This year will attempt this kick from the 30, straight down the middle. Westwood hits it true and good. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are on the scoreboard first here at home on a 30-yard field goal from Troy Westwood. Orlando Bobo, the right offensive guard for the Blue Bombers, penalized for objectionable conduct on a dead ball foul on that last field goal play. And so the Argos will start from their 50-yard line. Good field position going into the wind here in the first quarter. Michael Bishop yet to make a completion. The Bomber defensive game plan, keep him in the pocket, make him read the defense. It's working so far. They go to the ground now. John Avery makes a move, cuts upfield, runs into Lamar McGriggs and drops him. John Avery, who had his first 100-yard game last game against Hamilton, looking sharp on that carry.
Well, they really have to get John Avery involved in this offense, not only carrying the football as he did in this last play, but also he is such a weapon sliding him out of the backfield as a receiver. He is so elusive, and he just makes so many people miss. Now, he has such a low center of gravity. Now, look, he bounces back, but you don't see Lamar McGriggs. Lamar McGriggs went back about 4 yards.
John Avery coming off off-season knee surgery. A slow start to the season. A gain of 7 there. They go right back to Avery. He'll put his head down and be very close to a Toronto first down. Avery saying that he loves this turf. It's fast. He says, I might have to wear flip-flops today.
Well, I tell you what, the Bomber defense would love it if he put flip-flops on, but he does a nice job again. He gets in the flow. Any good running back will tell you, I need to touch the football, and a lot of times in the row as well, just to get that flow going, and he's carried twice in a row, and you can see it. He just pops up after contact.
First down, Toronto across midfield. Bishop back to pass to the flats. It's complete to Andre Rison. And he'll step out of bounds for a Toronto first down. But there are all kinds of whistles and flag on the play. This could be coming back.
Well, they're going to call a little offside against the receiver, I believe.
Pro Bowl MVP Andre Rison, Super Bowl champ.
Offside. Toronto number 18. Repeat first down.
But it's coming back as R.J. Soward was offside.
Well, there he is right there. Just getting the gun and anticipating that count. Obviously not anticipating correctly.
So they'll move it back 5. First down repeated at 15. Rolling left, Bishop under pressure, throwing. Oh, a good pass to Andre Talbot and complete at the 43-yard line. And they'll be about 3 yards shy of the first down.
Well, an interesting change of dynamics here. You know what? They've had him sit back in the pocket. This time to do what's called a little bit of slide protection. They slide the offensive line to the left. They bring the fullback and the running back to the left. That allows Michael Bishop to roll out, and that's where he's more effective. Gets out there, nice pass completion to Talbot.
2nd and 3, Argos. Bishop handing off. John Avery stopped in his tracks right at the line of scrimmage. The Bomber defense reading that one.
Well, Tom Canada with the initial penetration. I mean, this guy does not look like he's 260 pounds, but he just flies in there, tries to take the legs out, forces Avery back into the middle where the rest of his partners, Bradley and Doug Brown, wrap him up short of the first down.
Ball at the 42-yard line of the Bombers. Is this a field goal or a punt situation? It looks like it's a little out of Noel Prefontaine's range to attempt a field goal.
You did mention the wind and how strong it is coming out of the southeast. Gusts of 40 to 60 kilometers an hour. So I don't think you'd even want to attempt a field goal. Remember, that's Stokes returning it too if you missed a field goal.
Prefontaine, the CFL leader in punt average with a 46-yard average. There's a flag on the play as he hits a line drive to Derek Smith, and it forces him right out of bounds for no return.
And another penalty, and I believe it's going to go against the Bombers. I believe they're going to get a first down. The Argonaut defense will get Argonaut offense, will get a fresh set of downs as the interior of the Bomber defense jumped.
Offside. Winnipeg number 47. First down.
Jim Daly fuming.
These are mental mistakes. These are mental mistakes. These things are going to hurt you. Just in the middle of your screen, they just jump. I mean, he jumps, and then he doesn't even try to get back. You got to get back. Don't stand there, because I tell you what, if the referee has any possibility of missing it, you want to get back. Hopefully he won't throw the flag. When you stand there, you're going to get it called every time.
Jim Daly doubling as the special teams coach as well as the D-line coach, adding the head coaching job to his workload, and the Argonaut drive is still alive. Bishop in trouble, throwing deep downfield. It's complete to R.J. Soward at the goal line. What a catch!
Mark, you can't help but get excited about that play. They're going to call interference on Justin Coleman as they start fighting for this football. But what concentration, as you say, by R.J. Soward to come up with this reception. Loses his helmet in the process, but still comes down.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 29. Penalties decline. First down.
Well, obviously they're going to decline the penalty, but I mean on the 1-yard line, great concentration. We talked about penalties. That penalty, jumping offside, has hurt them. Gives the Argonauts a fresh set of downs. They come back first play. They go to their big play guy, R.J. Soward. Great concentration, great catch.
A 36-yard gain. The Argos now first and goal from the 1-yard line. Bishop, the big quarterback, calls his own number. Touchdown, Argos. So Michael Bishop, aided by some untimely Bomber penalties, and then a big 36-yard strike to the goal line, carries it himself for the touchdown.
I mean, if we take a look at this drive, I mean, it all started, if we want to go right to the beginning, with Bobo taking an objectionable conduct, then gave the Argonauts great field position against the wind.
At the 50.
Then they get stuffed, they jump offside on the punt. Fresh set of downs, you see there. Now we saw Austin earlier tear a strip off Bishop. There's a lot of loving going on right now.
Point after from Prefontaine is good. And the Argos have the first major of this football game to take a 7-3 lead in the first. Back in Winnipeg, where the Argos drive against the wind, and Michael Bishop scores his 4th rushing touchdown of the season from the 1-yard line to put the Argos up 7-3. Bishop avoiding the rush on that 36-yard pass to R.J. Soward, and then all 230 pounds. He's a big, strong athlete.
Well, you're not going to stop him from 1 yard out. I mean, unless he fumbles the football, that's about the only chance you have of stopping him on a short yardage play such as that. But again, penalties really hurt the Bombers on that drive, gave the Argonauts life, and they paid the penalty.
Keith Stokes misjudges the kickoff over his head into the end zone, and now he'll come out to the 10, breaks some tackles, still on his feet, tries to get outside, drops the football. There's a flag on the play, still loose, and a pile-up. There's a fight for the ball at the Bomber 35.
And you can see the decision-making process of Keith Stokes as the ball bounces over his head in the end zone, and he sees initially a lane open up to the left side. Now, he takes it up, a lot of flags are thrown, bounces it around, breaks tackles, fumbles the football, Looks like they're signaling that the Bombers have recovered it, but very fortunate in that play. But
flags are down.
There's still flags, and you see they're talking to Michael O'Shea, one of the captains of the Toronto Argonauts, discussing the options, the penalty.
Jim Daly catching a break there as Stokes put that ball down.
Well, he was thinking about going down, but there was a nice alley down the left side, and he thought, you know, at his
Loose
speed.
ball interference. Winnipeg, number 42, Toronto's football by rule. First down.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Loose ball interference and another huge penalty against the Bombers.
They're going to call Neil McKinley, the rookie from SFU, on that penalty. He sits down now. He's thinking, should I go down? But he sees there's an opening to the left side. He gets up there and he breaks some tackles. That's what Keith Stokes does so well. Now then the ball gets stripped. He kicks it. Now you cannot knock the defender away from the football or from an attempt to try and recover it. And that's exactly what Neil McKinley did. As a result, it goes over to the Argo offense.
Kevin Ivan had a beat on that ball and got knocked away by McKinley. So the Argos first down again. Bishop throwing downfield. Arland Bruce has got it at the 10. Going up the ladder to bring that one down in front of Eric Carter.
Well, in front of Eric Carter and safety Joe Morgan. I mean, that's what you call climbing the ladder. You're hungry for the catch. And, you know, Arland Bruce said, I hope the fans don't hate me when I come back here. Well, if he keeps making those plays, he's not going to be their favorite guy. But, I mean, that's just one in the football. Double coverage, the safety and the cornerback Carter there. He just climbs the ladder and comes up with a great catch.
First and 10 from just outside the 10. Bishop runs up the middle. They've got him. Terry Ray in from the middle linebacker spot with some help from Tom Canada. And he stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's a nice job. And what they might be trying to set up is the option play where Bishop can either take it or pitch it to John Avery, who'll scat out a little wider.
So second down and 10 from the 10-yard line. The first down stick looks like it's just outside the goal line. Bishop 3 for 3 since going 0 for 3. He'll pass. Second down, pressure deep into the end zone. Incomplete for Robert Baker on the corner route.
Well, Robert Baker had a couple steps on the defender, Stephen Fisher, but the ball just overthrown slightly, and Baker just can't come up with that. Baker, the guy they gave the logo mark, the touchdown maker, has not really lived up to that name. The last 6 games has not got a touchdown.
Leading the Argos in receiving yards with 656 and 3 touchdowns. But that ball was too far for him to catch up. Prefontaine was 0 for 3 the last time the Argos played the Blue Bombers. And he'll attempt this field goal from about the 17. It's a chip shot for the veteran as he puts it through the uprights. And the Argos have a 10-3 lead over the Blue Bombers as the gun sounds to end the first half. The Argos get the wind at their backs when we come back. A beautiful big sky canvas over Winnipeg, and the home team is down by a touchdown. The Argos scoring 10 into the wind, and now the Bombers will face that gusting southeast wind as they go back on offense as we check the first quarter stats.
Well, we take a look at the first quarter stats, and I mean the biggest thing that jumps out here is this right here, penalties. Those are the big things. Obviously the turnover and the Stokes fumble led to it, you know, to a field goal, but penalties gave the Argonauts life in that first quarter, and they capitalized after a couple of penalties by the Bombers. End up getting a touchdown by a 1-yard plunge by Michael Bishop.
And that good field position for the field goal by Prefontaine. Kevin Glenn has completed 3 of 5. He goes on the ground. Charles Roberts high stepping. And it's tough going up the middle there against this Argo defense. Gain of about 3.
Well, the Argo defense are so good athletically that they line up their outside linebackers, Fletcher and Bonner. They play a 3-4 defense. They line up on line of scrimmage. If it's a run, they stay there and take on the block. If it's a pass, they get back in coverage. It really makes it difficult for that offensive line or lead blocker to pick them up.
It's a 3-4 front, rated last against the run in the CFL. 2nd and 7. Kevin Glenn rolling. Wants to go deep. Pressure now. Escapes the tackle. And he'll be shy of the first down as Mike O'Shea filled quickly to limit that gain to 4 yards on the scramble by Glenn.
Well, Kevin Glenn scrambled, but you got to give credit to the secondary of the Argonauts. They did their job. He sits back there. He's going to roll to the right. He's looking downfield. There's nothing open. He has to pull the ball down. This is what you call about making a quick decision. I can't sit in the pocket anymore. The spider senses are tingling. I know I'm going to get hit. I got to make something positive. He does. Unfortunately, not enough to pick up a first down. And once again, the punting situation is on. And we watched John Ryan in the warm-ups, and he had difficulty punting into this wind.
Now he's going straight into the teeth of that southeast wind. Ryan with a 43-yard average, number 3 in that department in the CFL. Last week, punting for an average of nearly 53. He drops the ball. He's in trouble. They got him. Orlando Steinauer puts John Ryan down, and they'll spot the ball at the 22.5-yard line. And so once again, the Bombers set up the Argo offense.
Well, another turnover, a costly one at that. But the fact is, what John Ryan is thinking about is the win. He's so worried about making sure he gets his drop, that he drops the ball a little lower to get trajectory into that strong wind, that he doesn't concentrate on first securing the football, drops it, slips a little bit, and then the Argonauts take over, bring them down, and a big turnover once again for the Argonauts.
It's a loss of 20 on the botched fumble. And here's Bishop rolling right to the wide side, throwing hard, complete to R.J. Soward. He tries to put a move and can't get any further.
But again, a situation, you can see the game plan. Right now, Bishop is rolling. They're starting to roll him out, either to the left side of the field, the wide side, or to the short side. This time he rolls to the wide side. He loves to throw on the run. He's very comfortable rolling to the right side. If it's not there, he'll take off.
Gain of 6 on the pass to Soward. 2nd and 4 for Bishop and the Argo offense. In the shotgun, here comes the blitz. Bishop throwing into the end zone for Baker, and again he overthrows an open receiver.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't think he overthrew Baker. I think Baker messed up. Baker stopped. You cannot stop your pattern. Now Baker's going to do a little stutter step, and then he tries to regain and put the speed back on. As a result, this ball's thrown exactly where it has to be. The fact that he slows down allows Baker not to come up with that catch.
So Baker with 2 chances in the end zone, and he can't make the catch. And so Prefontaine will attempt this field goal from the 24-yard line. Ivan to hold, and it's good. So the Argos will take another gift from the Bombers, and they open a 13-3 lead here early in the second quarter.
Well, Robert Baker, the touchdown maker, can't get it done right there. He's the 3rd guy in. Now watch as we run this play. We're going to get Justin Coleman. Just goes straight down. There's the coverage right now. Now he slows down right there, and then he tries to speed up. Now, as a receiver, you have to always run full out on your patterns, especially if the ball is going to be thrown over your head. He had a chance to catch that mark had he kept on running.
Good call, Chris. First down, Bombers now at their 35. On the ground, Charles Roberts off tackle left, and he'll have a few as Mike O'Shea makes the tackle. O'Shea in the last 5 games has 29 tackles. Number 2 on this Argo defense in that category with 50 coming in here.
You know, and I like what they're doing right here by running the football, but you got to use a little imagination as well. I'd like to see some screens. You know, if you want to get Charles Roberts the football, you don't have to just hand it off to him. Slide him out in the backfield, slide him out in the flats, give him the ball in open field. Also, I got a question. Where's Stiegel? Where's the milkman? He hasn't been around yet.
2nd and 7, 5 receivers set. Blitz from Bonner, picked up. It's intercepted. Orlando Steinauer has it for the Argos, and he's got a posse of blockers. Steinauer, touchdown, Toronto. Kevin Glenn picked off, and Steinauer has his 3rd interception of the season.
Well, Kevin Glenn just tries to force this football in. Orlando Steinhauer, the safety, just sitting back, reading the quarterback. Sees a little bit of a pump fake, tries to force it in there. He's sitting in front of the intended receiver. He knows he's got coverage deep behind him. As a result, the ball is thrown right to where he is. He's not worried about anybody behind him. Chuck Winter's got the deep guy.
Point after from Prefontaine is good. And the Argos have been the opportunists here this afternoon in Winnipeg. And they've got a 17-point lead. Orlando Steinhauer with his third interception of the season, returning it for a touchdown. As we remind you, the CFL on CBC with a doubleheader today. Later tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. It's the Edmonton Eskimos at BC Place Stadium to take on the Western Division leading BC Lions. A battle of the top 2 teams in the West tonight on the CFL on CBC. Well, Prefontaine kicking off with the wind. Deep to Keith Stokes on the fly at his own 14. Stokes straight upfield, still on his feet, then shoestring. Chuck Winters making the tackle for the Argonauts.
You know, let's take a look at it. I want people take a look at Kevin Glenn's eyes. He is not looking anybody off. He is locked on the receiver. He tries to force this situation, something that he hasn't done the previous 2 weeks. Now, as a result, let's run a play. Here's Stoddard here. Now watch when he comes. Let's run this play, folks. Bring it across. This is Jamie Stoddard. Now freeze it right here. Look at here Steinhauer. Because of the fact he's locked on the receiver, he just sits there. He doesn't go deep as a safety, and he just steps up in front of the intended receiver and picks it off for the interception.
Kevin Glenn not reading his safety key there. And they go back on the ground as Charles Roberts barrels his way near the 40 and close to a first down before being thrown back, and there's a flag in the Bomber backfield.
Well, again, another mistake. They're just falling apart right now. But again, it's not a question mark. What it is
holding. Winnipeg number 64. Repeat, first down.
Well, that's Elwanibi with the holding penalty. But when a quarterback locks on a receiver, the safety can cheat. And the safety, Orlando Steinhauer, cheated on it, knew what receiver was going to go back, didn't get the far depth, sat up there, was able to cheat on the football, come up with a big play.
Well, you can see Elwanibi just tackled Noah Cantor on that play. No wonder they called it. The Bombers have given up 13 points on turnovers. 13 points off turnovers so far in the first half. 1st and 20. Against the wind. Glenn, play action, throwing the hitch to Keith Stokes. Breaks the tackle, gets a block, puts his head down, and Steinhauer hog ties him as he gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, this is a good job. You know, you're trying to get everything inside the box. You're trying to run inside the box with Roberts. You're trying to force the ball over the middle. You know what? You got an entire field. Utilize the sidelines. Get Stokes one-on-one in the flat with the defender. This is a guy that's a great punt and kickoff returner. He can make people miss. He does that. Picks up 9, puts him on a second down and short.
Make that second and just about 10 yards to go. Glenn will pass. He's got time. Across the middle. It's complete in traffic. Milt Stegall with his first catch of the game. Holding on with all kinds of coverage around him.
Yes, Mark, thank you for that. That's right after the penalty. It would have been second and short, but because they got that holding penalty, it was second and long. But again, nice job of regrouping by that offensive line, giving Kevin Glenn the time to find Milt Stegall. He is somebody that has to be an integral part of your offense for you to be successful.
First down for the Bombers. Steagall's numbers in decline since he was the most outstanding player 2 years ago. Throwback. Here's Glenn. Deep downfield. Stoddard's open. He's got it.
There's a penalty mark on the far side of the football field. Little bit of a flea flicker.
How about Jamie Stoddard?
Offside. Toronto number 2. Penalties decline.
Penalty called against Fletcher. The Bombers marching. But how about Stoddard? Since July, he's never had more than 1 or 2 catches a game. And here today, he's become the featured receiver.
Well, I really like Stoddard, always have. He's a clutch receiver. He's got great hands, not maybe the best speed. Little flea flicker, Roberts back to Kevin Glenn, and look at the fingertip, the concentration. That's an excellent job of finding the football in the air. Remember, there's a heavy wind here today, so that's even more impressive by Stoddard.
47-yard gain, the third catch of the game for Jamie Stoddard. And the Bombers with some life here on offense. Play action, hitch pass again, it's low, Stokes has it, and he's wrapped up. Adrian Smith makes the tackle with help from Kevin Iben, the outside linebacker.
Well, if you're going to throw this play, your receivers who are not going to catch the football have got to help. Now, Peterson, who's taken a bit of a rap for dropping footballs during the football season, had a nice touchdown catch last week. He has got to make some blocks out here. He's not the primary receiver. Now they throw it out. You got to make that block. He makes that block, and I tell you what, Stokes is going.
It's only a gain of 1, make it 2nd and 9. Bombers in the red zone. Here comes the blitz. He's got time, across the middle, dropped by Derek Smith in his hands. And a costly miscue for the Bombers. Derek Smith, the rookie out of Indiana, Pennsylvania.
Well, the guy they say is so tough mentally. They really like what he brings to the table. He's got great hands. He's not afraid to go downfield block. He's not afraid to run across the middle knowing he's going to get hit. This is just one of those balls. Oh, he's going to have nightmares about this. The ball kind of gets tipped a little bit, and he just loses just enough concentration out to be able to secure this football.
This attempt by Troy Westwood from the 23, the right hashes. Ball is pinned up and good. So the Bombers get a field goal, but a drop pass cost them a chance to go to the end zone.
We're back in Winnipeg, 26 Argos in the second quarter. Here's the great Damon Allen, out since week 9 with a cracked tibia. Are we on schedule for a Thanksgiving Day return?
Well, we're on schedule, but you know how the organization would do. When you think you're ready, they'll probably wait another week. So, but my date was Thanksgiving, so I'm really looking forward to. I'm just thankful I'm getting back to playing football again pretty soon.
Everybody, including Ken Austin, yourself, wanted to see Michael Bishop read the secondary of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers well today. What's he doing in order to make that happen?
I think he's doing a great job. He's seeing the guys. If he had a couple more completions, that would give him a better opportunity to have some touchdowns, but he missed a couple of guys. But obviously he's throwing to the right guys, and the fact that we're winning and we haven't turned the ball over has been great.
Are you licking your chops to get in there with the likes of Arland Bruce and Andre Rison and John Avery and all those weapons?
Well, it sure makes a quarterback smile, so I'm really looking forward to practicing again.
Hey, Damon, thanks for this and good luck to the Argos.
Thank you.
There's Damon Allen, Mark.
Bright Scott, amazing at 41 years of age. Had that screw put in the bone and was on the mend. He said it cut his rehab in time
Holding.
by half.
Toronto number 36 on the run back.
He got hurt on August the 12th.
Objectionable
Here he is a
conduct.
month later,
Winnipeg
already
number 31.
jogging.
First down.
Well, that's Ray Marius with the hold. Just the bottom of your screen. But look at the acceleration, Mark, of Arlen Bruce III as he just finds that opening and turns it up another gear.
Well, in his first game back, he was Special Teams Player of the Week. In Labor Day against Hamilton with a 22-yard average on kickoff returns. The Argos with the wind at their back. That return 66 yards. Too bad they called it back on the block. 5 receiver hitch pass. Andre Rison reaching out. And the man who says his new nickname is Good Moon Rising has a gain of about 5.
Well, I'm sure he likes that. All the bad publicities. He liked the old nickname before, the Bad Moon Rising, but I think with all the stuff that's about his personal life, he's just tired of that. He says, I just want to be known as a football player, and he came in on short notice last week after the ejections of Talbot and R.J. Soward, and boy, he made some nice catches. Came back to the football, really helped out his quarterback.
Pitch out, John Avery turns it upfield. They get him from behind, and he may be short.
Well, that's a great stand by the Bomber defense, because what you want to do is you basically want to force Toronto to go 2 and out and allow your offense, which showed signs of life, to get that ball quickly back.
Mo Kelly, the leading tackler on this Bomber defense, got him from behind. And so it's 3rd and a little more than a yard on the play. And Noel Prefontaine will have to punt. John Avery with that 74-yard touchdown run, the longest in the CFL this year, back on Labor Day. It looks like he may well be back finally from that knee surgery over the offseason.
Let go!
Prefontaine hits it low. Keith Stokes on the fly, off the bounce, finds the handle. They've got him. Michael Fletcher, quick on the punt cover. A 48-yard punt by the CFL's leading punter, Prefontaine, and a loss of 1 by the elusive Stokes.
Yeah, nice job of just regaining that football. There's been a story of turnovers this afternoon for the Bombers. Keith Stokes fumbling the punt return.
Let go.
A mishandled punt by John Ryan, who gets brought right down deep in his own territory. And then the interception, forcing the situation. Orlando Steinauer taking it all the way back for an Argo touchdown.
13 Argo points off Bomber turnovers. Tough field position here. Play action. Kevin Glenn rolling to the wide side, stepping up, throwing back across the middle, intended for Milt Stegall. He was covered by Kenny Wheaton, and it's incomplete.
Well, Milt Stegall sat down in the coverage. Kenny Wheaton was right there. Kevin Glenn, when he turned to throw the football, saw not only Milt, but he also saw Wheaton, and he decided to try and lead Milt Stegall. Milt Stegall was sitting down. Just one of those things, of miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback.
Milt Stegall, the most outstanding player 2 years ago. 23 touchdowns, a league record in that year. Just 2 this year. 2nd and 10. 4-man rush. Kevin Glenn wide open. Kamal Peterson to the 45. And a big Bomber first down. 21-yard gain on the pass and run.
Well, I don't know what Adrian Smith was looking at. He was lined up, Kamal Peterson, as a wideout on the far side of the football field. He just breaks it into the middle of the field. He's wide open. And I can bet you dollars to donuts that Adrian Smith was watching Charles Roberts in the flat and took a gamble thinking he was going to throw the ball to Roberts, and he got caught on that one.
So Peterson keeps this drive alive after that 2nd and 10 situation. Kevin Glenn outlets the pass. Charles Roberts with daylight. One-on-one, Adrian Smith and Kevin Ivan helping out. And they'll have a first down as Jim Daly right there signals it before the officials anyway.
Well, you know, Mark, we talked about this. I mean, we're not rocket scientists up here in the booth, but we said, you know, the biggest thing is you got to utilize the entire football field. All of a sudden, the last series, they started throwing the ball out to Stokes. This time they throw the flat pass, you know, out to Roberts. They're stretching the football field. You don't have to always stretch it vertically. You can do it horizontally as well, and that causes some confusion. It puts some doubt in the defender's mind.
That sounds like rocket science to me. It is a first down by half the length of the football as the Bombers go to midfield. Against the wind with 4:27 and ticking left on the clock until the half. A mistake and a turnover-prone football team trying to dig their way back into this game. Play action, quick hits again. Here's Derek Smith, he makes the catch there. And he's put down by Kenny Wheaton. Gain of about 6.
And I got to tell you right now, Big Dave Mudge, the outstanding player, the offensive line from years ago, he gets out here, the right tackle. He's going to reach out there and try and get the block. He misses the block. He tries to go, runs around it, and that's what Derek Smith is saying. If you get that block, son, I'm gone. I'm going to use my speed. We're going to make something good happen.
Kevin Glenn's got some chemistry going here on this offensive series. 6 receiver set. Quick hits again. Derek Smith gets a block. He's got a lineman, Mudge, helping him along the way. And another first down.
That's why offensive linemen are so intelligent. That's why they're so good, because you know what? You may make a mistake once, but they learn off it. And I tell you, Dave Mudge missed the block to play earlier. He comes back again. It's a blitz. They recognize it. 68 Dave Mudge releases, and he gets all of the block. He is right there. That's a nice job. Look at Derek Smith just tucked in the backside. Great job by Dave Mudge on that play.
First down, Bombers at the Toronto 30. Kevin Glenn hands off this time. Roberts negotiating, still on his feet. And Mike O'Shea will grab him by the leg and hold him to a short gain up the middle. With this Bomber offensive line responding to the challenge of their head coach as we hit the 3-minute warning. The Bombers on a roll. When Jim Daly took over from the fired Dave Ritchie, he said there will be no unit on this team that will be pushed harder than the offensive line. And when he took over on August the 8th, he said we went back to training camp and we drilled these guys because they are the character of the football team. And I know you like that, Chris.
You can talk to any coach in the league. If you don't have the guys, the hogs up front on both sides, whether it's offense or defense, you're not going to win many football games.
2nd and 9. Outlet pass. Roberts, can he beat him? Yes, he does. Beats 2 defenders, running to the end zone at the 5 and forced out of bounds. All by himself.
All I got to tell you is, next year, I'm going to put a book out, ways to beat defenses, because if they listen to us, I tell you, it'd be a whole lot easier. We talk about throwing the ball in the flat. We talk about hitting them horizontally. They've done it again. And when you get a guy, look at the elusiveness of number 1, Sir Charles, as he likes to be called. Blink is another nickname, but he just makes people miss. Stotter's downfield trying to break him open with a last-minute block. That's a nice play.
1st down and goal to go. Winnipeg at the Toronto 5-yard line. Kevin Glenn handing off. Roberts cuts back, and he's hit hard. Kevin Iman and Eric England to make the tackle.
But again, a nice job. And why? Because you've thrown the pass out to the flat. Now you've made your 2 outside linebackers line up a little wider. Let's go back up the middle now. Makes the first guy miss. Good team speed on the Argo defense prevents him from taking into the end zone.
9th play of this drive, a 3-yard gain. 2nd and goal from the 2. Bombers threatening again here late in the half. Kevin Glenn on the ground. Charles Roberts, touchdown, Winnipeg. But a flag is down.
Offside. Toronto number 97. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
The touchdown stands, and they're standing in Winnipeg. Charles Roberts with his 10th touchdown of the season.
Well, nice job of Serge. Wade Miller, the fullback, getting up there, getting a helmet on somebody. Charles Roberts does the rest. Shake and bake a little bit, and then explodes and breaks the plane of the goal line. Result, 6 points with the convert 7, and Mark, we got a game at 20-13.
The Bombers are back in it, trailing by a major. Charles Roberts with his 5th rushing touchdown, his 10th overall, and the Bombers are within 7. As we show you the drive.
It all started off as we talked about. Peterson snuck in the middle, made a nice catch, and then the swing pass out to the flat, and Charles Roberts does the rest. He loses a couple of would-be tacklers, takes it down, and then that was through the air. Let's finish it off on the ground as he takes it in. We have ourselves a football game.
Charles Roberts coming off his best game of the season last week, 159 yards rushing and a touchdown, and he capped that play, that drive, with a drive from the 2. Arland Bruce III chipped up. Marquise Fitzgerald got a piece of him, and he had a head of steam. The rookie out of Miami with a big tackle against the former Blue Bomber star, Arland Bruce III. Coming up at the half, Brian Williams, and our panel, Darren Flutie, Greg Frères, and Sean Millington from BC Place Stadium, as well as our weekly history of excellence. 2:02 to go until halftime. Bishop back to pass, lots of time. He'll throw, dropped and intercepted. Raheem Covington has it for the Bombers.
Have you seen the tide turn? Mr. Momentum has left the Argonaut bench and has come over to the Bomber bench. Michael Bishop does exactly what he has to do. He eludes the pressure, steps up into the pocket, delivers the football. Andre Rison tries to make a grab, goes off his hands. Raheem Covington, Johnny on the spot. The little tip drill out of his hands, good concentration, follows the football, picks it up. And a big turnover this time for the Blue Bombers.
Raheem Covington, the sophomore out of Northwestern, with his first CFL interception of this season. And the Bombers with a chance to tie it before the half. Kevin Glenn, lots of time, throwing hard. What a catch! No, they're going to say it's incomplete. And Kamal Peterson is furious.
Well, the fans don't like that call. I really like the effort. Peterson's taking some heat here for drop balls, but that's great effort to stretch out horizontally to try and come up with this catch. They're going to say that he trapped it with the help of the turf. Now he's got it right there, but you can see the ball does hit the ground. We're the benefactor of replays. Good call by the official.
Yeah, he had the ball, but he let it hit the ground. 2nd and 10. Kevin Glenn down the middle, completes to Milt Stiegel for a first down at the 15. 20-yard gain. 1:44 until the half.
Well, I don't know if the interception by Kevin Glenn woke him up, but he seems to be a different quarterback right now. He's gone on a bit of a roll the last drive, the last series that led to a touchdown. He was 5 of 6, and boy, he's come right back, and he's on fire right now. That's a dart right to Milt Stiegel over the middle.
And they're in the red zone again. Stiegel with that big 20-yard catch. First down, Bombers at the Argo 15. Hitch pass. Stokes has it, still on his feet, broke the tackle, straight arm, fumbled the ball. The Argos recover.
Well, the second fumble this afternoon by Keith Stokes. Just a situation where he's trying to break the tackle, does a nice job of getting through the first guy, then as he gets through, the ball is there, he switches the ball to his other side. That's what you have to do, you put it away from the defenders, but as he does, he doesn't secure it properly and it comes loose. Watch him switch hands, puts it to the left. Now he gets punched out by Mike O'Shea, the leader of that Argo defense. Big play by the Argo defense.
Eric England knocked it out of touch. A big play for the Argo defense. Here's John Avery trying to get outside, and Ricky Bell is right up there to seal it.
Well, the thing that happened, you didn't get any points. They moved it. That was off a turnover on a nice interception by Covington. They turned the ball over again on a fumble by Stokes. But the defense has been on the sidelines. The defense has had an opportunity to rest. They're out there. They're charged up again. And their goal right now is to shut the Argo offense down and force a punting situation deep in their own territory.
2nd and 9. Argos. Bishop in his end zone. It's complete. No, incomplete. The ball jarred loose as Covington hits Soward.
Well, Raheem Covington, who plays that short side corner, and that's where a lot of the balls are thrown. It's an easier throw for the quarterback. I mean, he is right there. The ball's delivered, but that is what you talk about. Wrapping up, making contact. The receiver had the football but could not secure it because of your effort of getting in there just as the ball arrives.
54 seconds into the half. Prefontaine 10 yards deep in his end zone. Do you concede a safety
now,
here?
well, you know the strength of his leg, Mark. He's got the win. That's what makes it an interesting question. It's a 7-point game now. If you give up 2, it's 5.
Prefontaine will punt. Oh, he's got a beauty, a spiral that drives Stokes way back, bouncing over his head at his own 19-yard line. Stokes now caught quickly, and Ray Mariuz, the special team leader in tackles, brings Stokes down in his tracks. An 80-yard punt, a beauty from Prefontaine.
That's why you pay your punters the big money. I mean, that is a great kick deep in your end zone. Stokes, it goes over his head. He misplays the football, misjudges it with the wind. And then he sits back there, and as he catches the football, Mark, he waits for blocking to, but you got to remember, Your guys that are going to provide blocking, they got to run all that 80 yards downfield to set the blocks. Just take what you can get. Don't wait for anybody on that situation.
First down Bombers just inside their own 28-yard line with 41 seconds on the clock going into the wind. Outlet pass again. Charles Roberts goes outside. Chuck Winters and is forced out of bounds by Adrian Smith.
And we saw another thing that I really like about the fact that they throw the sideline pass. That allowed the last series Milt Stiegel to be open over the middle. They're creating space now in the Argo defense. Now if they hang on to the football, they'll be a little happier.
The offensive coordinator, R.D. Campbell, on the sidelines for the last few weeks, moving out of the press box to help work to communicate with his quarterbacks. 2nd and 3. 3-man rush. Argos drop 9. Glenn throwing the ball and drops it. And this will be ruled an incomplete pass. And so that series will die right there.
Well, that's a big defensive stand for the Argo defense, because the previous 2 series, Kevin Glenn and the Bomber offense basically had their way and moved the football up the football field at the scoring position. This time they get good pressure. Kevin Glenn was in the act of throwing the football when the ball came loose. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass and not a fumble.
Kevin Glenn has looked more confident and more accurate in the second quarter of this football game.
Now, do you go after Ryan right now? We saw him botch an earlier attempt.
Let him go.
Here they come. This time he gets it away, end over end. Arlen Bruce on the second hop. There's a no yards flag right there. Bruce breaking tackles. Look at him dance. Outside Joe Morgan. Lots of room to the wide side. Ray will chase him. Ryan's the only man back, and Arlen Bruce will go to the end zone. Touchdown.
But there is a flag back at the 34.
That'll be no yards against the Bombers. And Arlen Bruce III, the special teams player of the week in his first return to the CFL on Labor Day, brings it all the way back to the end zone.
Winnipeg number 31. Penalties decline.
Well, that's a good call, Mark. You did call that initially when Arlen Bruce caught that punt, but you got to stay in your contain lanes and not give up. The flag goes down, the ball bounces, and they settle down. Arlen Bruce, to his credit, breaks the initial tackle. Now he gets to the outside, and then the Argonauts create a wall. Mike Crum, nice block, preventing the backside pursuit, and then it becomes a foot race. Terry Ray is not going to catch Arlen Bruce.
A 77-yard punt return for a touchdown for Arlen Bruce, the former Bomber, back from the NFL San Francisco 49ers. And Damon Allen with a pat on the back as the Argos open a 27-13 lead with 8 seconds to go in the first half.
You see the block down there. That's a nice job, Orlando Steinhauer, taking out John Ryan, not allowing him to come over. And that just was the final block needed for Arlen Bruce to take it to the end zone. Boy, that's called making a statement on your return to the place you called home a couple of years ago.
No kidding. And Bruce was saying yesterday that he's even better than he was when he left Winnipeg, the time he spent in the National Football
He's
League.
bigger, that's definitely. He's a lot more muscular. He hasn't played a regular shift. He feels that he's healthier.
Finally had some time to practice with the Argos. He played on 1 day's practice on Labor Day, coming back to the Argos.
When it come out,
What an electrifying return there.
Now, and we got to talk about something, Mark. Something just pops in my head right now. You got a guy like this. You got a guy, Bashar Livingston, at home. You got Tony Miles at home. I mean, this team has got weapons of mass destruction, and I tell you what, I don't know who can stop him.
Here's Keith Stokes at his own 2. Up the hash marks. He breaks some tackles. Cuts inside. Steinhauer's back and blocked. Stokes gets past him. Now he's going to the end zone. 1 Argo to beat. Stokes, last play. Touchdown.
And no flags. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Can you answer tit for tat? Boy, talk about answering the bell.
Keith Stokes makes good for 2 fumbles on the last play of the first half. 100
Bish, another amazing athlete. I mean, the fact, Mark, he broke 3 or 4 tackles. Uses his hands, waits for the block, and then breaks it. Now, he's going to make a couple guys miss. He makes one guy miss. Sheds a tackle, that's a second one. Now he gets some more blocks. He breaks to the outside, cuts it back inside. Orlando Steinauer can't bring him down. Then it becomes a foot race, and he gets to the outside. Last guy around the shoelaces, but not before he dives into the end zone 108 yards later.
The first kickoff return for a touchdown in the CFL this year. And now Keith Stokes, 1 on kickoffs, 3 on punt returns. And a real make good there for the Blue Bombers as the gun sounds to end the first half. And the Bombers trail the Argos by a touchdown. Here's Scott.
Right, Mark, and here's Michael Clemens, coach of the Argos. You know, a game of opportunities and those missed. Are you comfortable with a 7-point lead, or is that a rhetorical question?
Not at all comfortable. I tell you, we tried to keep the ball away from Stokes at the end there. With the win, the ball was pushed over back to him and gave him a chance to return the ball. We didn't want to do that. Also missed a chance. We had Baker twice and barely missed him for touchdowns. We only got 3. That's a possible 15 points there. They're saying the same thing on their sideline in terms of a couple of turnovers and opportunities. This is a game where a lot of things are going on, and so there is no such thing as a comfortable lead. The only good lead is one at the end of the game.
What about the fact that Kevin Glenn is able to get some quick hits in there and Winnipeg is keeping the football, marching it down the field? Is that a matter of concern?
Well, I think the greatest thing, they move the ball better against the wind, and that's the thing you want to do. You want to get first downs against the wind when you have this kind of wind in this kind of game at this point in the year, and they've done a great job moving the ball against the wind. In addition to that, they've converted some points, which is always a bonus.
Michael, thanks for this and good luck to the Argos.
Okay, thank you so much.
There's Michael Clemens of the Toronto Argonauts, who have a 27-20 lead over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The CFL on CBC will continue from Winnipeg in just a moment.
Wild first half in Winnipeg, the Argonauts leading thanks to Winnipeg's generosity and some great play by the Toronto special teams. Here in Vancouver, where later tonight the BC Lions are home to Edmonton at 10 Eastern, 7 local, 8 Mountain. And with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie, I'm Brian Williams. You're watching the CFL and CBC. I talked about Winnipeg's generosity to Toronto. Let's begin with that, Darren.
Wow, what a great what a great first half. The CFL at its best, but Winnipeg special teams really struggled early. First half, we had Keith Stokes trying to return this kickoff, didn't know whether to bring it out. He brings it out. He's tackled. No, he's not tackled. I want to keep running. Should I run now or should I punt? He punts it. So that's a fumble. Toronto recovers it. They go in. Michael Bishop gets the 1-yard touchdown. They also had John Ryan's fumbled snap. Special teams hurt him early. They came back later.
Now, Greg, the Argonauts are tough, not against the run, but against the pass, and we saw that here today.
Yeah, not so good against the run. They average actually giving up 126 yards per game. But you know what? With plays like this, Orlando Steinauer, they drop 9 guys. He's just kind of sitting back there because they make plays like this. He grabs the interception, goes down for the touchdown. Winnipeg don't want to take anything away from Toronto because they're doing a great job of coming up with turnovers, but Winnipeg has got to be more secure with the football. 17 points off of turnovers has been the difference in this ballgame.
Now, Sean, pretty good return to Winnipeg for Arlen Bruce III. Most would have thought it would have been as a pass receiver.
Well, they worried about Arlen worried about what his reception would be like when he came back to Winnipeg. I don't think he has to have any concern. It looks like he's channeling some of the ghosts of his past games here. Arlen Bruce III is just amazing. He's got that shiftiness, that quick feet that allows him to get outside on this punt return. He takes it a little bit over 70 yards for the touchdown. I mean, I'm sitting here with my mouth hanging open watching this play. This guy is the real deal, and that's what we like about the CFL football.
Now, on the very next play, give me one more. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. This is the very next play. Let's roll that tape and take a look once again, Stokes. You can do it.
As bad as his first kickoff return was, is how great this kickoff return was. How important is it for them to answer after being down 2 touchdowns for him to bring this one back? And I'm telling you, this kid is so exciting. I'm amazed I ever played in this league with talent like that.
And this is what I like about Keith Stokes. I mean, this is why he's with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now. He's a guy who often puts the ball on the turf, and he gets criticized for that. But how can you fault a guy when he comes back with plays like that? After making a big mistake, he comes back with a big play to redeem himself.
Now, we were tough on Michael Bishop, the young Toronto quarterback, prior to this game. Your thoughts on the way he's played, Greg?
Well, you know, he's throwing the ball up. They're talking about how he's making all these great reads. The receivers are covered. He's throwing the ball. He's got a great arm. I question his accuracy, and the receivers are coming down with the plays, and that's the difference right now.
Well, we talked about the receivers of the Argonauts in the pregame and saying we didn't think they'd have the effect. At least I said that because Michael Bishop wouldn't give them the ball. But they've shown they can have an effect on the football game without it being a reception.
Now, Sean, both Toronto and Winnipeg are weak against the run. Are you surprised we haven't seen more running so far in this game?
I'm very surprised, Brian. But with the plays like Arlen Bruce made earlier in the game, going up, climbing the ladder to come down with that ball, I mean, that's the reason right there. They're having success throwing it.
Just a reminder from here in Vancouver later tonight at 10 local, or 10 Eastern, 7 local, 8 Mountain. It's Edmonton and BC. There's Keith Stokes as they celebrate. We'll go back to Winnipeg for the second half. If it's anything like the first half, buckle up your seatbelt. The Argonauts fly a touchdown.
History of Excellence, brought to you by Nissan.
In 1971, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers began their season having not made the playoffs in 5 years. Don Jonas changed all that. In a simply remarkable year, he threw for more than 4,000 yards. In addition to being the CFL's top passer, Jonas also led the league in points and doubled as the team's place kicker. The Bombers finally made the playoffs that year, and Jonas became the team's first ever Shenley winner as the league's most outstanding player. Don Jonas, a CFL great and part of the history of excellence. Well, the fans are ready for the second half in Winnipeg. It has been a wild one so far. We'll rejoin Mark Lee, Chris Walby, and Scott Russell right after this. Wow.
Terrific first half in Winnipeg, full of miscues, turnovers, and electrifying football. And the Argos have a touchdown lead over the Bombers as we join Scott with the Blue Bomber head coach.
Jim Daly of the Bombers, it's a 7-point ball game. How frustrating is it as a head coach to know that a few less mistakes, a few less penalties, and it'd be a different story?
Well, that's what we addressed at halftime, Scott. If we can take away a few penalties, this is a little different game. And, you know, both teams are playing hard. The difference right now is the number of penalties we've taken.
What about the fact that you said you wanted to simplify the offense, and Kevin Glenn's got Roberts and Stokes coming out of the backfield, and they're eating up some time and some football field?
Well, you know, our offense is producing really well. I think Ronnie Lancaster's doing a great job with that game plan, and we have to keep capitalizing on that. But as I said a minute ago, the biggest thing we have to do is stay away from penalties and our own mistakes, and we'll give this a good run in the 30 minutes left.
Jim, thanks. Good luck to the Bombers.
Thanks, Scott.
There's Jim Daly of the Bombers. Mark, back to you.
Jim's already losing his voice. Keith Stokes on a thrilling 108-yard kickoff return to end the first half, and here are the stats.
Well, obviously you look at the 13 points off the turnovers, but here, right here, this number should just stick out if you're an Argo fan. That's the exact same number they had after the first quarter. The second quarter, the Argonauts did not get one first down. Winnipeg had 8, and they own the time of possession.
And there's Arlen Bruce III. He had a thrilling 77-yard punt return for a touchdown. The special teams player of the week for Toronto. And we have a football game as Troy Westwood kicks off the second half. And it is Bruce at his own 18-yard line. Stops in his tracks at the 30. Dancing left and right, finally going down at the 34-yard line where the Argos will scrimmage first down. Michael Bishop, good on only 5 of 12 passing attempts in the first half for 82 yards and 1 interception as we check his pass distribution.
Well, he had, you know, not bad in the first quarter. Second quarter, only 12 yards passing, obviously a little bit there. He went for a couple deep balls, overthrew a lot of them. We saw early offense quarter, Ken Austin getting his head. Started to catch fire, started to make things happen, but the second quarter really shut down.
Quarterback draw, and the big QB rumbles off tackle right for about 3 on the play. Alfred Payton, who has his second sack of the season, that in the first half.
Well, it's a situation right now where I think the Argonauts have to go back with what works, what was working for them. I mean, they got away from John Avery. He became a non-entity in that offense, and they tried to force things down the field with the deep ball. I think they got to kind of incorporate number 20 back in that offensive scheme.
Second down and 6, Toronto. In the shotgun, Bishop looks on his receiver. It's nearly intercepted. He stared right into the eyes of Andre Rison, and Eric Carter nearly picked that off.
Well, you know what? Eric Carter is a wily veteran. He recognized Michael Bishop staring right at the primary receiver. Rison sets down to catch the football, goes to his knees. Eric Carter keeps his feet and breaks on the football. And really, really should have come up with that interception. Big play, nonetheless.
Big boot from Prefontaine. Deep to Stokes at his own 18-yard line. Keith Stokes puts his head down shy of the 30 for a short return on the play. Lost his helmet in the process. A 9-yard return on a 54-yard punt from the leading punter in the CFL. Kevin Glenn, after a shaky start, settled down. Good on 15 of 22.
Well, he's got the one big one on the flea flicker. That was to Stoddard. But look where he's found success. Right under here in the flat patterns, and that opens up the intermediate routes. Just a nice job of spreading that football all over the football field.
He's received praise from Coach Jim Daly, saying he's smart, makes quick decisions, quick reads, and he'll go on the ground here to Charles Roberts. And Roberts will have a gain of about 6, nearly 7 yards.
And first down production is such a key component of winning any football game, putting yourself in a second and medium and short situation, and they've done a good job with that this afternoon.
Bombers have elected to take the wind in the fourth quarter of this football game, going into the wind here in the third, trailing by 7.
Well, that's a smart decision. That's the luck of winning the coin toss and making the right decision. Nobody knows this wind better than the Bombers. They have a phone in the clubhouse, and they phone the airport to get the weather readings.
Glenn in the pocket, flush now, he'll run. He's got the first down as Fletcher puts his head into the back of the Winnipeg quarterback, downing him just shy of the 45. A 9-yard pickup and a first down. Is Kevin Glenn, who they consider the lightning rod on this offense, leading the attitude in Winnipeg.
Starting back, you know, to the Labor Day game. That's when we said we're going to start here, and from here on out, you know, we're going to have a sense of urgency. We're going to treat every game like it's a Grey Cup game. We have to go out and win every game from here on out, and that's the mindset that we're trying to take, you know, for the rest of the season.
And Jim Daly says right now he is the #1 quarterback in Winnipeg, with Kahari Jones nursing a sore shoulder. Daly saying, all I want is for Kevin to play and not look over his shoulder.
You know, and I don't know if I want to open this can of worms right now, Mark, but you got a guy like Kahari Jones, who is the former MVP, throw for 46 touchdowns one year. You know, he's had a rotator cuff problem. You do not throw him away. You always want to have 2 quarterbacks who get the job done.
Bobbled snap, play action, throwing deep downfield. Stoddard's got it! Big Winnipeg first down.
Well, nice job of Peterson coming down the sideline, and he occupies 2 defenders on the right side. Adrian Smith stays with Peterson as well, and that allows Jamie Stoddard, who has become a quick favorite of Kevin Glenn, to come up with another big catch.
His 4th catch of the football game. As I mentioned earlier, since July, he's had no more than 1 or 2 a game. A fringe player, but today featured. Glenn, first down, hitch pass. Derek Smith drops his 2nd pass of the game, but that was ruled as a forward pass and incomplete.
Well, that's why everybody went after the football, because if the referee misses that call, considers it a live ball because it was behind the line of scrimmage, even though it wasn't in this instance, you're still going to see players fight for possession of that football.
Harry Jones on the sidelines here today. He began throwing the ball vigorously in practice this week. They say he's got a lot more zip on the ball, but still experiencing some pain.
We saw him in his last game against Calgary way back in August, and he could tell he had difficulty throwing the deep ball and anything with some zip on it. It's a good move by Daly to allow it to rest up and heal up.
A missed handoff there, and Kevin Glenn loses his helmet in the process of that play.
But again, Mark, a situation where the Bombers move the football. They let their defense sit down, get a rest, gather their thoughts, get with their coaches. They move the football up, and now they have an opportunity against the wind to bring on Troy Westwood to attempt a field goal.
So Kevin Glenn and a mix-up in the backfield, and this field goal attempt.
Well, they're very fortunate, Mark, as you say.
From the 36.
Try a little handoff. Lucky didn't botch that and put that ball on the ground.
Westwood, 2 of 2 so far. Into the wind from the right hash mark. Stoddard the pin. The lefty hits it straight through the uprights. 3 for 3 on the afternoon. And the Blue Bombers are within 4 of the leading Argonauts. Welcome back to Canadian Stadium in Winnipeg, where the hometown Bombers are down by 4, as we welcome you to choose the warrior of the game. Jamie Stoddard, 4 big catches and some tough ones in traffic. He warrants consideration. Bruce, with that big punt return for a touchdown, he should get some votes. Log on and let us know. Here's Bishop rolling right and hard and driven out of bounds. Mo Kelly got a piece of him. And that's when this quarterback is at his most dangerous, when he's outside contained.
Well, I agree with you, Mark. I think one of the things that has been lacking in this offensive attack this afternoon is the fact that Michael Bishop has not really challenged the outside of this defense. He sat back trying to throw the ball over the middle or make things happen between the tackles. I think he is much more effective when he gets outside and utilizes his legs as well as his arms to beat you.
8-yard gain by Bishop, 2nd and 2. Argos, Bishop up the middle, and he's a big, strong athlete, trying to bulldoze his way to the 45 and the first down marker, and he'll be very close. It's the first down for the Argos, Chris, since the first quarter.
Well, that is a big thing, because I tell you what, the defense has been out there a lot. In the second quarter, Winnipeg had the ball for over 10 minutes in that quarter, so you know what? The defense is saying, hey, come on, guys, on offense. You've got to get some things, put it together. Give us a break.
Mike Mihalik in on the offensive line for Sandy Annunziata. There's a bad snap. Bishop gets a bounce, breaks a tackle, throws it away. And a flag on the play just downfield. What strength by that 230-pound, 6'2" quarterback.
Well, not only to get rid of the football, but to avoid being sacked on a bad snap that he mishandled and had to go back and first corral.
And the Argos might get another break here. Here's the call.
Offside, Winnipeg. Repeat first down.
Well, again, it's a penalty, but it's only going to hurt for 5 yards. They'll give a 1st and 5 situation, and it's just at the top of your screen. Just lining up. You see where he's lined up right there. He's just inside the neutral zone.
So it's 1st and 5. Argos at the 51. On the ground, John Avery hasn't had too many runs today. And Tom Canada is there to bury him from behind.
Second down, Glenn, he's short.
One of the things that happens when you don't give John Avery the ball often is he has no rhythm with the offensive line. The offensive line is sitting back in a pass pro the whole afternoon. For them to be successful, they've got to run it more to get that rhythm so that John Avery can instinctively know where he's got to break the football to pick up yardage.
2nd down and 2 Argos. There's movement and flags as Bishop steps across the line of scrimmage. And it looks like there was movement first on the Argo offensive line.
Well, I believe that's exactly what the call will be, a little bit of a procedure call. That'll be the center
procedure,
usually.
Toronto number 59. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, they're going to call Mike Mihalik, who is back from a torn quad muscle. He's at the top of the screen right there, and he's just going to jump the gun.
Mihalik back since the 2nd game of the season when he injured himself. 2nd down, Bishop firing, incomplete. Having a hard time hooking up with the touchdown maker today.
Well, remember, he's throwing with the wind, but good pressure by Alfred Payton. And they call SWAC for the Southwest Athletic Conference down at Grambling. Nice job of putting pressure, forcing him to throw that football.
And you can really see how that defense is containing Bishop. As you mentioned, he's not getting outside with his legs.
He has only found success, as you say, Marcus, when he scrambles to one side or the other side on a rollout action.
Prefontaine keeps the ball away from Keith Stokes there, angling it out of bounds. A savvy move as the Bombers come back on offense when we return to Winnipeg. Frank Cotolo and the rampaging BC Lions on a 7-game win streak play host to Terry Vaughan and the Edmonton Eskimos at BC Place Stadium, the CFL on CBC. And on the Argo sideline, Romero Miller just finishing a warm-up, the backup quarterback who hasn't played since last year when he was with the Ottawa Renegades. Of course, he was chopped by the Calgary Stampeders this year in training camp. And Kevin Glenn is swallowed up on the sack there. Eric England and Noah Cantor into the backfield.
Well, one of the few times since the first quarter we've seen the Argonaut defense actually get some penetration up the middle of the football field and not even allow Kevin Glenn to scramble to either the left or the right side to escape it. Just good penetration. Working down Marvin Thomas by staying outside. Number 98 does not allow Glenn to get to the outside, and Eric England wraps him up.
First sack of the game for Toronto, third of the season for England. Glenn with time, outlet pass, and Roberts is surrounded, manages to find a crease, but hauled down by Antonius Bonner at the 29-yard line, and he didn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. So the Bombers will punt into the wind.
Well, it's a scenario where they put a man in a position to spy Charles Roberts, and that's Antonius Bonner, number 10, who's there, and he says, I'll go wherever Blink goes. Wherever number 1 goes, I'm going to follow him, and he brings him down after a short gain and forces a third down punting situation into the wind by John Ryan.
John Ryan, who gave up that one snap, put it on the ground for a turnover in the first half.
Now, would you punt to Adrian Smith or would you punt to Arlen Bruce?
After that 77-yard punt return by Bruce, you might want to keep it away. And he puts it right over Bruce's head. A beauty into the wind by Ryan. Arlen Bruce on his feet, finally hauled down. Joe Morgan makes the tackle. There's a flag at the 50.
Flag at the 50, but an excellent punt into the wind by John Ryan. And that's what builds character. The youngster out of Regina, redeeming himself somewhat for that bad botch punt.
Offensive coordinator Kent Austin with his starting quarterback Michael Bishop out of the game right now in favor of the backup. Romero Miller has been put into the football game at quarterback. A free agent acquired August 16th by the Argos, released at training camp by Calgary. Former Renegade standing in the pocket, and he completes his first pass to R.J. Soward. Soward goes outside. He'll have the Argo first down as he's collared from behind by Justin Coleman. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play, and it's interesting to see what the philosophy of pulling Michael Bishop will be. Obviously, he was ineffective since early in the first quarter. A lot of times they'll pull your starter, let him sit and stand beside.
Ineligible receiver, Toronto number 18. Repeat first down.
Well, Soward ineligible came in, didn't report. But it's interesting to see what they'll do with Michael Bishop. If it's just an instance where he'll stand beside Ken Austin, you see him right there, number 7, and get a feel for the game, and they'll go over some things, and they might put him back in. Sometimes they do that because it's definitely a question of, will you wreck any confidence he may have gained in his previous 3 football games?
Well, as Damon Allen said, Michael Bishop is learning what it takes, how serious you have to take starting quarterback job in the CFL, and this is a learning experience in progress. In his end zone, Romero Miller throws it over the head of Andre Rison. He was covered on the play by Raheem Covington.
One of the things that really surprises me that they haven't really tried to do is a pump and go. They've tried to throw the little quick out to Andre Rison on that short side wide receiver, but yet, and right now, the defenders, whether it's Eric Carter on one side or Covington the other side, short side corner, have jumped it every time. If I'm a quarterback, I'm thinking a pump fake and run a wheel route and get him deep and see if he can get by him.
Romero Miller looks very composed under pressure here. Back into his end zone, second down, throwing downfield, one-hander, no good. Arlen Bruce went up for it in traffic as Joe Morgan, the safety, was there to jar it loose.
Well, that's a nice job of the safety, Joe Morgan. Remember, this is the guy that played the first 2 games of the season and then lost his job. Now, they've had other players play there. They've had Maurice Kelly, they've had Terry Ray, they have Jeff Jover who pulled a hamstring. They say this guy has a talent, he just has to put complete games together.
Don't forget, Ken Austin was the quarterback coach with Romero Miller last year with the Renegades, so he knows well what Miller can do. He didn't seem to fit into that John Jenkins run and shoot in Calgary when they cut him before the season. Here's Smith now, Derek Smith, straight up the far side of the field for a short return as we join Scott with Kahari Jones.
Thanks, Mark. And Kahari still nursing that sore shoulder. Your coach says you need time to heal. Are you getting the time, and how much time might it take, Kahari?
I hope not too much more. I'm really itching to get out there, and it's one of those frustrating things because I feel healthy. I feel like everything is good, but there's something in my shoulder that just needs some time to rest, and so we're just doing a lot of things right now to get it right, and so I can take the rigors of going out there and playing a game.
You know how the game works as Kevin Glenn moves the football and the team. Are you confident that when you're healthy and ready to go that things will not change here in Winnipeg? You'll come back as the starting quarterback and be here.
That is the plan. That is the plan. Kevin is doing an outstanding job right now, and he's helping us win ball games, and I think that's great. And my job is to come in here and do the same thing and to help this team win. And we want whatever is best to get this team wins, and I think I've done that over the years, and I still plan on continuing to do that. And but if I'm not in there, it's good to know Kevin can go in there and do the job.
Thanks for this, Kahari. Look forward to you coming back.
Thanks a lot.
Kahari Jones, Mark.
Thanks, Scott. Kevin Glenn calling his own number on the quarterback draw, and he'll be shy of the first down. Getting back to Kahari Jones, Jim Daly quelled the speculation yesterday that Kahari Jones was on the trading block, saying you can't underestimate the value of a starting quarterback, especially when times get tough, especially when you need experience and poise on the way to the playoffs.
It's called depth. You want to make sure you have depth, and that's the key position on any football team. That's the quarterback. And I said this, and I'll reiterate it again. He's a former MVP. He threw for 46 touchdowns, almost broke the record. He can get the job done. He has had shoulder problems and has struggled because of that. And I know a lot of people who jumped off the bandwagon of Kahari Jones and really want to ride him out of town, but I think this guy still can get the job done.
Troy Westwood, good into the wind from 43 yards out. And the Blue Bombers have moved to within 1 point of the Argos. First down, Argos. Romero Miller in his second series, handing off up the gut. John Avery, gang tackled there as Melvin Bradley stands over him and celebrates.
Well, John Avery, who had a tough time in their initial meeting back in August, running the football against this Winnipeg defense, they've been very tough against the run. Only got 73 yards in that afternoon. Matter of fact, last week against Saskatchewan was one of the few times they gave 100 yards to Corey Holmes, and they said, you know what, it's not going to happen again.
Tough going for Avery. 8 carries for only 20 yards in this football game. Miller on second down and 6. Lots of time to the sidelines. It's complete to Andre Rison, still on his feet, finally hauled down, and there's a flag in the vicinity of the catch. A 14-yard pickup for the all-pro out of the NFL.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they call that, because Andre Rison came back to the football and had some separation as he did come back. A lot of times they may call that offensive interference as he pushes off the defender to come back to the football.
Forward pass interference. Toronto number 3. Repeat, second down.
Well, that's indeed what they're going to call. Andre Rison, the wily NFL vet who's back in Canada, trying to resurrect his career, just pushes off of Raheem Covington to be able to come up with that catch. All for naught as they get pushed deeper. Over a 2nd and 15 situation.
He said yesterday, when I step between the lines, I'm a winner. I'm a proven champion. And Pinball Clemens hoping his young receivers learn from his leadership. Backside blitz. Romero stands in. There's contact downfield, and it's incomplete as R.J. Soward ran right over Marquise Fitzgerald. No flag, and the Argos will have to punt.
Another situation, but what a great job by the offensive line to slide backside, to pick up the blitz. I mean, this is dead to right. He's going to come off the right-hand side, and Chad Folk comes from the center position to pick him up. That's an excellent job from your center, not only snapping the ball, but making the block.
Keith Stokes runs right into John Williams, the second-year man out of Edinburgh. And he's dropped immediately as he crossed the 30-yard line for just a few on the return. Williams, one of 5 players in running back situations here for the Argos.
Illegal block. Winnipeg, number 35, on the run back. First down.
Randy Bowles, what they call. The Bombers will stop. Inside on the 20-yard line.
What a thrilling way to end the first half. 2 kick returns for touchdowns. First it was Arland Bruce III making his first return to Canadian Stadium, 77 yards for a touchdown on that punt return. And then Keith Stokes, starting at his own 2, went 108 on the last play of the first half to the end zone for Winnipeg. Here's Charles Roberts right up the middle for the Bombers on first down as they fight their way out of tough field position. There's R.D. Lancaster. I believe I referred to him as R.D. Campbell in the first half. I'm not sure what I was thinking. Maybe the great R.D. Campbell, after whom the football stadium in Ottawa was named after.
Well,
an Ottawa boy.
Well, that's a heck of a recovery.
But R.D. on the sidelines, moving down from the spotter's booth to have more direct communication with his quarterback.
I think he's doing a real nice job of getting the plays out there quickly to the quarterback.
High snap, one-handed by Glenn, gets the ball away, and it's Jamie Stoddard again.
Now, Jamie Stoddard got up and ran because I don't think anybody touched him. I'd like to see this again, and that was heads up by Stoddard. Orlando Steinhauer comes over and touches him after. A little bit of uncertainty there. Catches the ball, goes down, and really not much contact with the hand. It almost looks like as the defender hops over Stoddard, catches him with his feet, but really doesn't tag him with the hands. And Stoddard gets up and thinks he's got more yards, but the referee blows the ball dead.
That's the second time that Kevin Glenn's barely had a chance to get the laces and thrown a complete pass. Play action rolling to the short side, complete to Milt Stegall. He breaks the tackle by Fletcher and heads out of bounds for another Winnipeg first down. 11-yard pickup by the veteran Bomber receiver.
Well, for years, Milt Stegall was the only guy, the go-to guy in this offense, and responded with huge numbers. He is no longer the guy that has to carry this team. They can spread the wealth, but boy, I tell you what, in a clutch situation, you got to know they love having number 85 out there.
Yes, Milt Stegall with a total of 38 100-yard games receiving, but not one this year. Been a lean year. Playoff, or rather play action. Kevin Glenn, all kinds of daylight as he carries it himself and slides close to a first down. We'll have to see where they mark it as the gun sounds to end the third quarter. Fourth quarter straight ahead here in Winnipeg, a one-point football game. The Argos clinging to the lead, but momentum clearly on the Blue Bombers side.
Well, I mean, every time you run the football, watch this end suck down with the play action and the fake handoff to Charles Roberts. That's look at Jonathan Brown come down. That allows Kevin Glenn to get to the outside. Everything has a reason. You run the ball to set up the pass. That set up the bootleg.
Bombers have had big numbers in the third quarter over the years, and now they have the wind at their back. Look at Charles Roberts scale the tackle and stay on his feet. Right over top of the pile.
I know it's too early to talk about. You know, we have 5 games left, but I tell you, if there's a guy on this team that really you think that has the heart of this team, is Charles Roberts. This is my MVP candidate, most outstanding player. Look at that. I mean, 5'6",
167 pounds.
Unbelievable balance in the heart of a lion.
Indeed he does. And for the third year in a row, Charles Roberts is over 1,000 yards. Play action, naked bootleg, all kinds of room again for Kevin Glenn. But he'll step out of bounds, shy of the first down marker.
Well, we talked about it early. He ran the naked bootleg earlier. He fooled the far side defenseman Jonathan Brown. This time he beats Ingles. We take a look at the quarter stats. 1 first down for the Argos, 3 for Winnipeg, but they're moving the ball. What you got is 2 field goals by Troy Westwood. They're controlling the clock, and as a result, keeping the Argonaut offense off the field.
Argos have had 1 first down in the last 2 quarters, loaded with receiver and running back talent, but nobody to pull the trigger. And the Bombers threatening again inside the red zone. A look-in pass to Kamal Peterson, and we'll look for the indication. Yes, it is complete, and the Bombers will move the yardsticks again.
And again, a nice play. This time they clear with Stoddard. Stoddard goes deep. Both DBs go deep. That allows Peterson to come back inside underneath. The ball is thrown where only Peterson can come up with the catch low. He makes a great grab off the turf and a first down.
Big target back to the CFL after a short stint in the NFL. Former Stampeder, a Grey Cup champion in 2001. Handoff fumbled by Charles Roberts, quick to recover, and that was a close call.
Well, we saw earlier in the third quarter, Mark, where Kevin Glenn missed the handoff to Charles Roberts, but he didn't lose the football. This time a bad exchange. Charles Roberts, Johnny on the spot, able to come back and secure the fumble and put him in a 2nd and basically 10.
Second down, just shy of 10, as Roberts recovered his own fumble. Glenn now calls a quarterback draw, looking for an opening, and hit hard at the 5-yard line, and maybe a late hit as a flag flies.
Well, they got to call this. You have to protect your quarterbacks, and Kevin Ivan comes over the top, and he hits him, and you can see that Kevin Glenn's a little shook up. He gets up, and he looks, oh, he's signaling to the
Major
bench.
foul, unnecessary roughness, piling on, Toronto, number 95.
Well, they're going to call Eric England 95 instead of 35, and I apologize to Ivan for that. But again, a predetermined quarterback sneak up the middle, goes down. Now he's down, he's stretching there, and you can see right over there. And to Eric England's defense, he is trying to avoid the quarterback.
Let's watch his left arm and see how he got injured.
I think he just falls on his elbow more than anything, Mark, and kind of gets it jammed underneath it. You can see he's talking to the trainer. That's Ross Hodgkinson, the trainer, athletic trainer. As we see Stanley Jackson warming up.
Stanley Jackson has not thrown a pass this year. The number 3 man is T. Martin, recently signed as a free agent after being cut by the Oakland Raiders.
Now the thing you have to remember is, as they work on Kevin Glenn, is when you hit the elbow's connected to the shoulder, and sometimes you jam that, you can dislocate the shoulder. We now have 2 quarterbacks in here, Mark, who haven't thrown a...
You talked about depth, too, being so important.
Well, there's evidence right now. I mean, on one side, you got Romero Miller, who's coming in for Michael Bishop, but now you got Stanley Jackson.
Jackson, a 6-year pro out of Ohio State. There's Kahari Jones in his civvies on the sideline. He's still a week or 2 away, recovering from that chronic tendonitis in his throwing shoulder. Kevin Glenn is staying in the game, but does he not have to come off the field for 3 plays?
I thought he had to come off for 3 plays. I mean, he's injured. They called because of that, so I'm a little surprised by this. I don't see any...
So Glenn is staying in the game at quarterback. 1st and goal. Handing off. Charles Roberts, untouched. Touchdown.
Well, that's a nice job, again, of opening a hole by the line. And I tell you what, this line has taken some heat. And we talked about Jim Denny said when he took over, the first thing he was going to do was correct the problems on the O-line. He was going to simplify it. That don't mean cut the package down. I mean, he's going to say, You're only going to have one assignment. You do that one assignment.
They're going to go for 2. As the Bombers currently lead it by 5. They'll try to go up by a full touchdown here with a 2-point convert after Charles Roberts' second rushing touchdown of the football game.
It's a smart move because 5 and 6 points, not much difference, so why not go for 2?
Well, it'll put them up by a converted touchdown.
Absolutely.
From the 5. High formation, back to pass, Glenn into the end zone, touch, no, 2-pointer, Milt Stiegel. Bombers take the lead, and they're up by a full touchdown at home. Kevin Glenn staying in the game after that late hit from Eric England. A penalty timeout must have allowed him time to recover.
That's because the penalty was against the Argonauts for piling on. He did not have to leave the game like normally he would on an injury. Therefore, he stayed in, and good results came as a result.
Indeed, they did. Kickoff from Westwood deep to Arland Bruce at his 6-yard line. Dangerous he is, but Griggs turns him inside, and he's wrapped up across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Lamar McGriggs, good contain there, and he's back in the good books on this football team after a rough start at linebacker.
Well, I like what they did at touchdown. They run tumble late. This is Todd Krenbrink, the 2003 draft choice. Now he's going to wash Michael Fletcher down. Now freeze it right there. Take a look at Wade Miller. Great block, and look at the lane that opens up. That's what your fullback has to do. He helps him out. Charles Roberts enjoying that kind of a hole right to the end zone.
Big block, play action now. Romero Miller firing it, puts it into the turf. Incomplete. Intended for Arland Bruce.
And you talk about, we've talked about this, Mark, quarterbacks. If you don't have a quarterback, you're in a world of hurt. We saw it in Calgary. They're struggling out there. You see it here with Toronto. They got all the weapons, but they can't get a guy to deliver the football. Michael Bishop struggled. Romero Miller's coming in, and he's having the same result right now.
Bishop pulled, Miller in, and he's 0 for 4 in his first 4 passing attempts. 2nd and 10. 4-man rush. Miller again with time. Tipped. Nearly picked off.
Well, for a defense that has taken so much abuse for all the yards it's allowed through the air, they have showed up to play, and I don't know if it's Jim Daly's philosophy of breaking things down, making sure that everybody knows their assignment, don't worry about the other guy's job, the philosophy of just take care of your own, but they are a different group out there.
Steven Fisher on his back nearly got that tip ball into the wind. Stokes now at his 41, twisting, turning, broke the tackle of O'Shea, then went down, and there's a flag at the 45. Keith Stokes already taken a kickoff back 108 yards, limited to 9 on that one.
We're back in Winnipeg, 34-27 for the Blue Bombers over the Argonauts. Well, you know, Kevin Glenn had a little bit of a problem before that last touchdown for the Bombers. He was hit hard on the right shoulder, went down on his left elbow, came up complaining of some tingling sensation, had a little bit of trouble with his fingers. But of course, as you saw, he delivered the touchdown and then the 2-point conversion. He was worked on by the medical staff here on the sideline. They worked out a couple of kinks. He took some throws and is back in the football game. So Glenn apparently ready to go. Chris and Mark.
Thank you, Scott, for that update. Kevin Glenn is a driven athlete, driven to be a starting quarterback in this league. As I mentioned earlier, his work ethic is a blue-collar work ethic. He's always in the film room, always around the office. In fact, Jim Daly had to tell him to go home one day.
Well, I just like the edge he's got. What I mean by an edge is, you know, they're kind of required to talk to the media. Kind of, you know, fill us in, give us some dirt, give us some details. He does not like it. He knows it's a necessary evil, but he's thinking, I just worried about the game. I'm worried about doing what I got to do to lead my team to a victory, not to talk to you guys. And you know what, as a former player, as much as, you know, you kind of wish he'd tell you something, I kind of respect the fact that he's focused on the job at hand and not worried about satisfying our appetites.
Interesting that Kahari Jones said, yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to be the starting quarterback when I'm healthy. Jim Daly has not made any decision. He knows he doesn't have to make one until at least a few weeks away when Jones comes back.
Why would he even say anything right now? Why would he put his neck or create a controversy when he doesn't have to? Right now, it's not even an issue. It's a moot point because Kahari's not even in the lineup right now. He'll deal with that when it comes. But I still think you've got two great. I don't agree with anybody that says they're going to trade him. I think it'd be foolish to trade him. I think he's a guy that, when healthy, is one of the top quarterbacks. He's obviously being paid like one of the top quarterbacks. He's a great guy in the community. You talk to a lot of people. I mean, the guy is solid.
He is solid. And over the last 3 or 4 years, he has been uncontested in terms of the number of victories he has generated for the Blue Bombers, as we look at Kenny Wheaton getting attendance there. So attention to Wheaton, and we'll take a break with the Argos trailing by 7. Kenny Wheaton helped to the Argo sideline, and they'll look at that hand, injured on the last play. Here's Kevin Glenn standing in the pocket, throwing downfield, complete to Kamal Peterson. And Crum makes the tackle for the Argos, but Peterson was gone and he didn't have to wait for that one.
Oh, hello, that's just smart football. And I don't know if it's Artie Lancaster that sent the play into Kevin Glenn, but when Wheaton leaves, Mike Crum comes in and they go right after him. That's smart football. You got a guy that's been on the bench, only playing special teams. He hasn't warmed up, except for being on the special teams, as we said, but they go right at him. Good call.
R.D. Lancaster at the controls. And a 45-yard gain by Kamal Peterson on the receiving end of that Kevin Glenn pass. Glenn hasn't missed a beat since being shaken up. Rolling to the wide side, complete to Milt Stiegel. Stiegel runs into 3 Argo defenders at the 25.
Well, and Kevin Glenn is really doing a masterful job of, we've talked about this, utilizing the entire football field, rolling to the left, coming back this time, rolling to the right. Quick throw, get it to number 85. He's tackled, but not before he picks up 8 yards. And indicative of the afternoon, they put themselves in a good second down situation.
Second and about 4. Not even that. 3 yards to go. Glenn handing off. Charles Roberts outside. Big first down. Blue Bombers inside the Toronto 10.
Well, this play doesn't work unless Jermise Jones gets his block, and number 57, Big Jermise, he just gets right into Jonathan Brown. Now, Jonathan Brown, as a defensive end, is taught, get to the outside. He stands in front of Jermise. Jermise gets his hands on him. That allows Roberts to get to the outside. It's a nice block by number 57.
Charles Roberts over 100 yards rushing for the 2nd game in a row. And you know the Bombers are undefeated when he does that. Handing off, fake. No, it is Roberts. Big call up the middle. And he's dropped at the goal line by Bonner.
Well, they're wearing this Argo defense out. And I tell you right now, this is a case of Charles Roberts saying, I've got more than one avenue to run. Watch, look at the hole. He says, oh, I got to cut back here. There's Bonner now. Come back in here, cut it back to the left. Gets it down to the 1-yard line. This offensive line and fullback have really done a great job of creating openings for Charles Roberts this afternoon.
The heavy team is in for the Bombers. 2nd and goal from the Toronto 1. Kevin Glenn up behind his center. Elawanibi handing off. Charles Roberts, touchdown, 2nd effort, his 3rd of the game.
Well, this touchdown is, and I can take a lot of Charles Roberts runs, whether they're touchdowns or not. It's just indicative of don't ever measure a man by his stature or his height, because he is Mr. Second Effort defined. He is stopped initially, his legs never stopped. We talked earlier, we beat this to death. This is a 5'6", 160-pound man, but he just gets the job done. They're going to pull Sheridan. He tries to get to the outside. Mike Fletcher's there. But Charles Roberts smells the goal line and refuses to be stopped short of it.
And there's a delay in the convert. Charles Roberts with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game.
Time count violation. Winnipeg number 88. Repeat the convert.
So Jamie Stoddard, who holds on these placements, called for the time count violation as Sir Charles gets a breather on the Winnipeg bench. 3 touchdowns today on the ground for the little man. Over 100 yards again. Now they'll get that point after through the uprights. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with 28 unanswered points, have taken control of this football game here in the 4th. Welcome back to Canadian Stadium in Winnipeg, and all smiles. Sir Charles Roberts has carried the mail today for 3 touchdowns. Total of 7 rushing so far this year, and a total of 12 touchdowns on the season. Westwood's kickoff deep to Arland Bruce III, starting at his own 3-yard line. Bruce caught by Lamar McGriggs, the 36-year-old linebacker who Jim Daly says still has his legs.
Well, one of the things I want to show you is here. This is Mike O'Shea, the middle linebacker. Now this guard's going to pull out here. That's where the play is designed to come up the middle here. But as we run the play, watch how the linebacker, Mike O'Shea, gets caught too tight to the line of scrimmage. Now freeze it right there. Look where he is. He's getting caught in the wash. And that allows, as we run the play, you're going to see a seam created because Mike takes himself out of the play. And here comes number 1, right where the spot was that Mike O'Shea vacated.
Michael Bishop back at quarterback for the Argos. Scrambling now, rolling wide side. Brown behind him. He'll run with it. And a big first down. Mo Kelly got the worst of that collision.
Well, I think this is a good move right now when you're down 41-27. Michael Bishop at least gives you the opportunity to run with the football. Nothing against Romero Miller. He hasn't played in over a year, but he wasn't getting it done through the air, and he wasn't attacking him with his legs anyway, so you might as well put Michael Bishop back in there.
So Bishop, dangerous, using his legs. Getting a second chance here. Time running out on the Argos, down by 2 touchdowns. Bishop back to pass, throwing quickly. It's complete to Andre Talbot. And he's clotheslined short of the 50, well short of the first down, objecting to the tackle.
Well, this is a bad penalty by Lamar McGriggs, and I think he reacted thinking it wasn't a real serious push, but the official right there is going to flag him for a little unnecessary contact with him
Major
after the play.
Unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg number 36.
And it's a bad
dead ball
penalty.
foul, first down.
You make a great play, don't negate it by doing something foolish because you stuffed them. You guys have done, I mean, the Winnipeg secondary and linebacker have really done a good job of curtailing the receiver after they catch the football.
Well, McGriggs was just getting out of the doghouse, coming off his best game last week with 8 tackles against Saskatchewan, runner-up for Defensive Player of the Week. And he takes a bonehead penalty. Here's Bishop throwing deep. Nobody there except Bombers. Eric Carter, interception for Winnipeg. Now the return. Carter, still on his feet, goes to the wide side now and goes down at the 32-yard line. Eric Carter, his first interception of the season. His second game back from that bad elbow injury.
Well, Michael Bishop is going to take a hit after releasing this football. He tries to go deep as we see Eric Carter, not only a great cornerback in the CFL over the years, but quite a showman. A little bit of a Hulk Hogan impersonation. But just a little play action pass. Tom Canada, Alfred Payton, very fortunate. It might have been a late hit. Actually, he threw that ball.
Headshot.
Or a headshot underneath the chin, but all for naught. Eric Carter, big interception. Bombers have the ball again.
Carter back last week after what looked like a season-ending injury to his elbow. And Charles Roberts spinning hard and dropped right there. The gain will be 6.
Well, there's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than having an offense continue to pound it at you and get success doing it. And that's exactly what the Bomber offensive line is doing, and they're dictating this game to the Argonaut front 7, the 3 down linemen, and the 4 linebackers.
And again, that offensive line that really took a tongue lashing from Jim Daly, put back into boot camp, and he said they went right back to one play. Let's start, learn your blocks. And the O-line has been strong here as Charles Roberts has rushed to his 4th 100-yard game.
And it's a confidence thing. These guys are starting to feel like, you know what, we can get this done. The communication, anytime you simplify a play, you also eliminate unnecessary penalties. You eliminate unnecessary communication. We have one assignment. That's the assignment. Now remember, those of you who tune into the game, this was a 20-3 ball game in favor of the Argos. 38 points scored by the Bombers.
Illegal motion against Dave Mudge, so it's 2nd and 11. Blue Bombers in the shotgun. Kevin Glenn looking, rolling now, looking for time. There's a flag as O'Shea looked like he had a chance at the quarterback and got tugged.
They're going to call Bobo. Bobo made a boo-boo by pulling on, I believe it was Eric England, 95, the outside end. The official right there, there's Mike O'Shea. He's thinking he got held as well, but I believe at the point of attack when he...
Holding, Winnipeg number 66, penalties decline, 3rd down.
And Bobo was working against Eric England.
Bobo, the Cajun out of Northeast Louisiana.
I see him, oh there he is, he's tugging on.
He's all over O'Shea.
Mike O'Shea.
That allowed Kevin Glenn to escape. 3rd down, Bombers will punt. Arland Bruce back to return, looking into the sun. John Ryan with the wind at his back.
Yeah, the biggest thing you have to do is don't be complacent. If you're Winnipeg, you must stay in this football game. You have a dangerous returner with Arland Bruce.
And he'll kick it out of bounds away from Arland Bruce. Argos back on offense and dejected. 3:24 and counting in regulation time. The Argos need offense. Bishop across the middle. Andre Bad Moon Risen has the catch for Toronto. But there is a flag back at the 50. The Argos ranked dead last in most offensive categories despite this talent. Trouble getting things going at quarterback. And Bishop says it's against Winnipeg.
Illegal contact on a receiver, Winnipeg number 20. Penalties declined, 1st down.
Well, that's Ricky Bell with the infraction, but Andre Risen doing a nice job of coming from the outside across the middle to snare one of the few completed passes from Michael Bishop.
All-Pro, Super Bowl champ, veteran. Bishop throwing into the wind, intercepted. It's Eric Carter again. His 2nd of the game and the season.
Well, I got to tell you, I understand Michael Palmer, number 77, is not the tallest guy in the football field, but even with that ball there, I think you still got to try and attempt to get your hands up on that ball, and at the very least, you may cause a distraction to Eric Carter, who comes up with, quite simply, a very simple, easy interception.
Eric Carter basking and posing after his 2nd pick.
Well, he's just sitting there. This is an overthrown football intended for Michael Palmer. And he just kind of stopped and looked at that ball sailed over his head. And Eric Carter said, hey, look what I found.
Well, this woeful Argo offense turning it over again. 1st down at the 30. Glenn on the ground, cutting up the middle, a gaping hole. It's Charles Roberts and a 1st down. Sir Charles leading the charge again as the Bombers move the yardsticks here in the 4th quarter. Eric Carter in the limelight this afternoon with 2 interceptions.
Oh, he's playing. Let's take a look at the Gillette game notes. We talked about offensively. Sir Charles Roberts is perfect. Anytime over 100 yards, they win. Once again, that's going to come to fruition. 116 yards rushing, 44 receptions, 3 touchdowns. And what about defense? Checkmate the Bishop, only 109 yards passing and 3 interceptions.
Wow, your scouting report is all over. Fantastic.
A lot of pressure trying to keep up with that Flutie guy here.
Yes, he's still to come in the nightcap. Edmonton at BC from BC plays tonight. 10 Eastern. On the ground. Roberts cuts back. Way back outside. Thomas then drops the ball. The Argos say they've got it. There's a flag on the play.
Well, this is just a situation as we see a flag as well. It's going to come against
number
Winnipeg.
57. Penalties declined. First down, Toronto.
No penalty against Jermaine Jones, who really has had a whale of a football game this afternoon, as has his counterparts in that offensive line. But just a question of Charles Roberts. Look at the change of direction. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Cuts it back, then he decides to come back up there, gets tackled. I believe it was England, and the ball came loose. The Argonauts with a break, but is it too late?
That's the Bombers' 5th turnover of the football game. Michael Bishop wants to go deep. Now he'll run. He's athletic. Still on his feet. Look at the speed as he outruns the linebacking core of the Bombers and steps out of bounds for a first down. An 18-yard pickup by Michael Bishop with a bit of a limp as we...
You know what? And the Gillette game notes tell you right here, Mark. Offense, we said take the rock and roll. We said, Michael Bishop, you got to roll out because you can run with the football. There's nothing there. He's only got 157 net yards as an offense. Defense, PS, not a chance. That was Peterson, Stoddard, Stiegel, Stokes, and Stoddard. And look at that, 329 passing yards, 6 different receivers.
Yes, once again, your scouting report bang on. Bishop throwing deep, intended for Avery. He can't find the football. Avery was open, but that's a tough catch to make.
It's a tough catch, Mark, but how many times have we seen them even try to go to Avery? They go for the mismatch. You get a linebacker covering. That's Mo Kelly covering John Avery. This is what you want. But this is the first time they've even attempted it all afternoon. I'm a little surprised by that. Sure, when they break the film down, they'll be surprised as well.
Only 8 carries for 20 yards. And that was his first passing attempt. Bishop's numbers not good. Back to pass on 2nd down. Rolling right now. Here comes the pursuit. They've got him. Terry Ray.
Now there's a fight down on the 15-yard line, Mike. Mark, and I tell you right now, there are blows being exchanged, and I believe that's Ricky Bell and RJ. Oh, that's not RJ, that's Robert Baker, a very frustrated receiver. But they're at it, and I tell you what, there were some punches being thrown, and that's Ricky Bell, and he'll be showing the sidelines.
Well, the Argos were scrapping at Labor Day, too, against the Ticats. Had Soward and Talbot tossed in the first quarter.
We didn't really catch what happened. We were kind of following the play here. And it was away from the play, down on the 15-yard line. They got tangled up and then decided that they'd like to exchange some formalities.
Well, the officials are sorting it out inside the 20.
Well, I'll be very surprised if Ricky Bell is still in this football game after the punch is thrown. And he's down at the bottom now. Back it up, guys. Back up this replay a little bit, please. Thank you. Now take a look at this right down there. There they are. Now watch the right hand come across. Watch this. They're playing. Now what? Oh, there you see a shot. You just catch a little bit of it. Ricky Bell, a little bit of the forearm shiver.
Illegal contact. Winnipeg, number 20. Major foul, rough play, disqualification. Winnipeg, number 20. And major foul, rough play, disqualification. Toronto, number 88. Repeat. Actually, it's first down. First down.
Well, I think they're going to give Ricky Bell the penalty for delivering the blows and Baker for absorbing them. I don't think he was on the right side of that fisticuff encounter. Nonetheless, they'll both be ejected.
And R.J. Soward has already left the game with an injury. As Ricky Bell makes his way off the football field, there goes the touchdown maker. He's had a hard time today. But how about Terry Ray, his first sack of the season in his second game at middle linebacker for the injured Ryan.
You know what everybody said, we talked about Terry Ray. Let's give that guy some kudos because here's a guy that was a continual All-Canadian at Edmonton at that middle linebacking position.
Wait a minute, Baker wants a piece of McGriggs.
Well, I think Robert Baker should take his lumps. It's over. It's done with. Frustration obviously boiling over. I think it's a good situation where
he had to go right by the bomber bench,
and again,
they were giving him the trash talk.
I don't think I think you make him walk around the long way. I think by bringing him there, even though the locker room is on this side, you're actually enticing more stuff to happen as you walk in front of the bomber bench. A lot of verbal jarring going on there. Obviously, the Bombers very excited about where they are on the scoreboard and in this football game.
Jim Daly has managed to get his players off the field, and they have restored calm.
Well, you never like to see your players do that, but when you're on a winning score, you know your coach is going to be happy just because of the attitude you're showing out there. Not backing down.
Sorry, Chris, the Argos are down to 4 receivers, and Jeff Johnson, the backup running back, is in the game now for Toronto. And with 1:50 to go in the game, you never know in the CFL. They're down by 2 converted touchdowns.
Well, 1 minute and 50 seconds left. There's plenty of time.
Ball on the 12-yard line. First down, Toronto. Bishop with time. Can't find anybody. Rolling, throws to the far side. It's complete to Jeff Johnson. And he stopped at about the 2-yard line.
Well, Jeff Johnson, who came in as a result of the ejection of Baker, I mean, Eric Carter just leaves him alone. He really doesn't think that he's even going to be a factor in his play. He sees 33 kind of sit down in the flat there inside the 5-yard line and plays way off him. He doesn't even think he's a factor. He's more worried about Michael Bishop getting to the outside and running with the football. As you see, Carter coming over late to bring down Jeff Johnson.
And it looks like they'll be just shy of the first down as they had the sticks out. Bring them to the far hash marks.
Well, this is a good scenario in the fact that you need a little bit less than a yard to pick up a first down, but you can still attack the goal line. And if you don't get it across, you can still pick up the first down and get 3 fresh downs.
About the length of a football to go. Ball on the 3-yard line. Second down. 140 and counting to go. Bishop with a sneak, pushing hard, touchdown.
Great surge by the offensive line. On the left side of that line, Jude St. John, Bernard Williams, all 6'9" of them, and Chad Folk just opening a nice hole. Michael Bishop tucking behind him. We talked about the fact that he's an incredible athlete with incredible leg drive. Gets in there and pushes the pile 3 yards back, puts a touchdown on the board, and with the convert, we're a touchdown away from a tie score.
Michael Bishop with his second rushing touchdown of the game. 1:36 to go. Prefontaine with the point after. 1:36 to go. Bombers lead by a converted touchdown.
Is brought to you by
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
The new Pontiac G6, launching this fall.
Michael Bishop engineering that quarterback sneak for a touchdown. Now to the Argos short kick.
Well, they have to short kick, but here's the scenario. You just lost one of your best receivers in Baker, who hasn't got any touchdown, but still is a good receiver. Now, he would be on that hands team. So now you got to put somebody in there to substitute for him, and you're hoping that he can get the job done, because what you want to do is you want to have your best pair of hands on whatever side of the field you're going to kick or attempt to kick that ball 10 yards.
Giving attention to Bishop's right hamstring. 5-play drive. The Argos with 20 points off of 5 Winnipeg turnovers.
Well, and that's what we talked about. We talked about the fact you can never be complacent in this game, even with the lead. The thing you want to always develop as a football team is a killer instinct, not a fact where you sit back there and say, you know what, we've got a 2-touchdown lead and relax, because Toronto's got a good squad, and boy, they picked an opportune time to put a drive together to make this game a 1-touchdown game.
Milt Stiegel to the near side of the field. They've got Wade Miller and Terry Ray. They'll go the opposite way of the Argos. High kick, and the Bombers have it.
Well, they were offside anyway. They left before the ball was kicked. A little bit of trickery right there with Prefontaine faking the kick.
Offside. Toronto number 12. Penalties decline. First down.
Maurice Kelly makes the catch And the Bombers will have good field position with 1:35 to go in the game and the win.
Anytime you try this little fake kick where you see Prefontaine come one way and they kick it the opposite way, it really has to be timed up with the team that's trying to recover the football. It makes it really tough when Adrian Smith got called, leaving the line of scrimmage a little early.
The Bombers had linebackers on both sides of the field wide out as part of their hands team, aggressive football players with good hands, and they come up with it. Kevin Glenn, 329 yards, settling down after a shaky start this afternoon. He'll hand off to Charles Roberts. Roberts is hit hard. Mike O'Shea makes the tackle for Toronto. The gain will be about 2 yards.
Well, right after Kevin Glenn threw that interception to Orlando Steinhauer, as we see the Argonauts call a timeout, it seemed like he became more focused and made a lot better decisions on the football field. See Charles Roberts' numbers there. Another good afternoon for Sir Charles. 27 carries, well over 100 yards.
Fourth time he's done that this year.
But this is an important part right now because it's 2nd and 8. And the Argonauts know if they get the ball back, they have an opportunity.
Kevin Glenn needs a first down. Try to run this clock. 1:31. Handing off. Roberts. Trouble. Working hard. Look at the effort. Dragging the Argos to a first down.
They better get about 6 game balls. Obviously give the best one to Charles Roberts. His effort is unquestionably the leadership quality of this team, but that offensive line, look at Mo Elwanibi. That is a great block by your center to push your defender all the way out of the camera angle, but just a nice job of staying on your blocks. Big Mo with a fine job at that center position.
Roberts running right through Steinhauer to get that first down at the 39. They'll go back to Sir Charles again. Really hit hard, but he hit the hole with some speed. Gain about 2.
Now you have to remember where we are on the football field. It's only 2 yards gain, puts it on a 38-yard. They have the win. Now even if they don't get a first down, they can still kick a field goal. So that will really play into this right now.
Troy Westwood 4 for 4 in field goals today, and as you mentioned, with the wind at his back. Well within his range right here. 2nd down and 8. Again, the call is Charles Roberts swiftly through the hole, knocked down, shy of the first down.
It's going to be about 1.5 yards short on the right hash. Now they may go for it. They're saying the big boy's in, so this is trying to make a statement, but I think you put Troy Westwood out. I don't think you take any chances. I think you kick the field goal and make it a 10-point game. I think it just doesn't make sense.
You just made the call, Chris.
Well, there you go. I mean, you don't take a chance on that. You only got a 7-point lead. If you miss it and they run it out, they got an opportunity to tie the score.
Westwood has been perfect here today. He was perfect in the last game he played against.
Now, we also got to put this in. Arlen Bruce returned a punt, 77 yards for a touchdown. He is capable if Troy doesn't hit this.
This attempt from the 38-yard line. The right hash. Westwood. It's up and good. Troy Westwood, 5 for 5 in field goals this afternoon. And the Bombers have clinched this one with a 10-point lead and 14 seconds to play.
Well, that's a nice offensive showing after a shaky first start for this Bomber offense. And I've got to really be impressed with the defense. They did a nice job of containing Michael Bishop.
How about Keith Stokes? He really electrified this team on the last play before the half. That's where the momentum really turned.
You know what? When he answered the call, absolutely. After you get Arlen Bruce returning a punt 77 yards, and he comes back on the very next play, kickoff returns it 108 yards.
Made good after 2 fumbles in the first half.
Yeah.
14 seconds. It's academic, and that's incomplete out of the backfield to John Avery. Not sure what that's going to accomplish.
Well, that's, you know what, you're not, for me, when you start doing a sideline pass like that, you're basically looking at the clock going, let's pack our bags. It's over.
How about Jim Daly? The players saying yesterday they're feeding off his enthusiasm. He's always up, they say. Kevin Glenn coming in, replacing Kahari Jones after a slow start himself, finding his groove here today, passing for more than 300 yards. 8 seconds. Bishop throwing downfield. Talbot's got it. Andre Talbot dragged down by Terry Ray at the 35-yard line. And that's the last play of the football game as the gun sounds. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming from behind and winning it 44-34. Their third win in a row, engineered by Kevin Glenn.
And a character win, Mark, when you're down by 17 points to come back and put the points they did on against a very good defense. That's something to hang your hat on.
Jim Daly and Pinball Clemens. Some good sportsmanship at center field as we join Scott.
Right, Mark, 154 yards rushing, 3 TDs for Sir Charles Roberts. An outstanding football game and one that the Bombers really needed.
Yeah, we did really need that game. We were able to stay composed when we got down and gave them some gifts early in the game. And, you know, we stayed focused on our goal to come out here and come out with a victory, and we was able to do that.
You had an outstanding game yourself, but can you comment on what Keith Stokes did on a bad ankle there?
Oh, he did a tremendous job, man. That kick return touchdown that he made, it was a must score situation for us going in at the halftime like that, and it completely changed the momentum for us and got us going in the right direction.
Your coach says you don't want to be focused on outcome but on performance. Were you pleased as a team with the overall performance of the Bombers?
Oh yeah, like I said, we kept our composure when things got tight for us and continued to play hard, believing in ourselves, knowing that we'd come out with a victory if we just stayed focused on that goal.
Charles, thanks very much, and good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you.
There's Charles Roberts, who had 3 rushing TDs for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers today as they won 44-34 over the Toronto Argonauts. The CFL on CBC will return to Winnipeg in just a moment. 44-34 Bombers, the final score in Winnipeg on a blustery day marked by brilliant sunshine, the big blue sky. Today's warrior of the game, none other than Sir Charles Roberts of the Bombers. 154 yards, 30 carries. He's small in stature, but he had a very big game today against the Toronto Argonauts. 3 rushing touchdowns. Charles Roberts, once again, Winnipeg, 44-34. Roberts is the warrior of the game in Winnipeg.
Warrior of the game, brought to you by Rona, the how-to people, proudly Canadian.
Once again, 44-34 Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Winnipeg moves to 6-7 in the Canadian Football League West. Coming up, the CN International from Spruce Meadows, Alberta, the richest event in show jumping. Bruce Rainey, Terry Leibel, Doug Dirks are on hand there. And then at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, we're back with Game 2, the CFL on CBC. Big battle in the West between the Eskimos and the Lions in Vancouver. 44-34, 5 for 5 for Troy Westwood. For all of us, thanks for watching. And so long from Winnipeg.